Oh, perfect. Perfect. Hello, everybody. How are you? Getting some vibes going up toward the beginning of the stream here. You know, we want to get our heads in the game. We got to get our motivation going, so the music helps a little bit. Like, yeah, getting it moving. So, hello. How are you doing? It is Thursday, and I am pretty tired because I've not been sleeping on account of my neck being messed up. But you already know that if you were here earlier this week. So, without further ado, hello, everybody on the website chat. Mickey, thank you, Mickey. I believe you were one of the contributors. I'll get around to talking about that again in a minute. Mersh, hello. Spider, we have Nuvenal and the Raccoon Pope. And Felix, welcome to the website chat, Felix. I know you were in the YouTube chat last time. Aster Oxide, of course. Wreckage says that they were not sure if they were going to stick around, but that's okay. It was not sure if it was going to stick around. That's all right. I think Baphomet and Decoy Duck also, if I'm not mistaken, earlier were waiting. So hello. And then, of course, my lovelies in the YouTube chat, let us not ignore the YouTube chat entirely. Caleb said first. Superplink said second. Congratulations, both of you. You each get a point. We have Theos, Soyboy, and Felix also in the YouTube chat, I see. And then Robert. Hello. Hello. So, I guess right up top here, I just want to say thank you for having there be like 20 people waiting for a stream to start. That's pretty cool. Like, that's a good feeling to have when you're like about to start sitting down to stream. So, appreciate you being here to hang out. If you have not hit like on the stream yet, please consider hitting that like button. It's free. This is a show that I bring to you for free, and some of you support me via donations, and that's very appreciated. But at the end of the day, nothing is behind a paywall except for some vlogs that I put on my Patreon for $3 plus contributors if you want to see me vlog once or so a month-ish. So, yeah, I wanted to say up top that I ran a little short GoFundMe, and y'all fixed it within a day. Like, so I had the money that I owe for Lucy's cremation and stuff. It's a little box. That's a box of Lucy's ashes. I was like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to get this money together. So I did a short GoFundMe, and it raised more than enough to cover everything with the fees and all that. So I'll just be able to not worry about being in debt for Lucy's final whatever. So thank you. I closed the GoFundMe. You cannot donate any more to it because it has reached its goal, okay? What's up, Evie? Hello. Of course, we love the wave emoji. Up top here, drink water. I've not been drinking enough water, so this is me getting on my case and reminding you also. Okay. So, as per usual, the new thing that we do at the beginning of stream, okay? Checking in. What's one thing that you've done to take care of yourself physically in the past week, since the last time I saw you? Whatever. Did you make yourself a smoothie? Did you go for a walk? Something along those lines. And secondly, what did you do to, like, holistically make your, like, energy better? This is always such a nebulous... Like, what did you do to make your mental health better, basically? Like, did you talk to a friend, visit with family, play with puppies, you know, something along those lines? What have I done? I went to therapy. That's something that I did for my well-being. Like, I would consider that more like my physical well-being, I guess. Oh, no worries, Baphomet. Oh, yeah, I got to, let me hit at everyone in the Discord. Yeah, okay. By the way, there's a Discord. If you're not in it, consider joining it. We have a chill little community in there, and you get notifications for when I start stream, because I know YouTube sometimes likes to just not show you notifications for when I start stream. So if you want to get around their shitty bureaucracy, congrats on therapy. Thank you. Yeah, I've reached the point where I'm done with my trauma stuff, and so now when I go to therapy, it's just like... like what's going on, you know, like general therapy, which is weird because I've never had general therapy that I've been interested in for very long. So we'll see. She's just going to help me stay on track with my goals for like getting ready to move and stuff like that, which you think like, You know, my lease isn't up until like January or February, somewhere around there, which seems like a far off way, but that's like 6 months, which is not very long to plan a move like halfway across the country. And it's the only reason that it's only halfway across the country is because I live in the center of the country. Hey, what's up? Jamie says they've been watching my channel for years. That's awesome. It's good to see you in a live show. Catching up on shows I never got to watch, such as Stranger Things and Star Wars. Nice. Yeah, and then what did I do for my mental health? I'm lagging behind in my like working on my hobbies and stuff. That's something that I want to make a bigger priority, is work on my hobbies a little bit, not just be focused on doing things that need to be done. You know, it's good to do things just because you want them to be done, I guess. I haven't worked on my crochet scarf in a while. That's something I should do. It's hard for me to give myself permission to not do something. So anytime that I'm like staring at Twitter, it's because I'm like, oh, I could be relaxing, but I can't relax. But I'm too overwhelmed by the many things that I need to do. So I'm just going to scroll Twitter and be paralyzed. God. Spider says, got a good night of sleep and chatted with some friends. Good for you. I'm proud of you. I am still cleaning and packing, but I'm planning to spend the weekend with my friends, says Felix. I hope you do. I will be proud of you if you do that. As I've said before, I'm personally invested in all of you surviving at least until the end of the year. That's all I'm asking of you. What's up, Sisukara? Hello. Baphomet says, when I'm back from Canada, I'm going to try starting a stream, mostly because my mom is pushing me to do so because she wants me to have a job. True. If any of you here are also imps, if you're here, then you're part of the horde, my horde. If you're here, also a fan of Demon Mama, the imps, you know the rule number one, the one rule. Don't fucking die. We don't have exactly that much structure over here, but if it helps you at all, if it helps you make it to the end of the year at all, I am personally invested in you at least making it to the end of the year. A kobold imp, a kimp, if you will. True. Oh, gosh. What's up, Ghost Knots? And what's up, Kimberwolf? I am eating, then cleaning my room. Oh, yeah. The eating and the cleaning are just like a perpetual cycle that must always be done. Does Ashton Daniel have a thing like Horde? I know Ashton, but not very well, and I don't watch very much of their content. TBH. I know that they like they put on their really cool goth makeup while they're talking to the camera in some of their videos, but also that they don't post for very often. What's up, Quarbarian? Mickey says, I'm eating and surviving well enough. Still hoping to keep up working out. Otherwise, just spending time with my girlfriend after work. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. My partner managed to find seasons 3 and 4 of Heroes, so we can sit down and watch those sometime. I also think that I'm going to try to get him to hang out with me this weekend doing some practical stuff, but also like just hanging out. Camera, I saw it. He considers himself a gender hoarder. Oh, well, so the thing is that my horde is comprised of community members. What I hoard is fans, audience members, whatever you want to call it. You all individually are part of the horde, of the whole of you, which is all of you together in the chat. Oh, Baphomet, happy birthday. Lots of work to do packing for Canada tomorrow and cleaning my room. Yeah. Did you get yourself like a nice suite or something like that? Did you get yourself something cool? I hope you got yourself at least like a small little treat. That's your gift to yourself is going to stay with the BF. That makes sense to me, you know? Hey, no worries, Ghost Knots. If you join in the first hour, usually for most of the first hour, we're just kind of like shooting the shit for a bit. And then we'll get to the politics stuff later. That's what we do. Oh, I will say, before I lose too many more of you, because we were up at like 40 and now we've dropped back down. Those of you who are here right now, I want to put out a call to action, and then I think I'm gonna try to leave this on the screen for like as much of the stream as I can. I saw, Mersh, that you had participated in this already. Oh my god. Why is the fucking URL so long? Okay, that's a little bit better. So, I'm gonna post a link in the chat really quick. That's a link. And I'll post it in the YouTube as well. And there's a link. Doink. So, what this is Biden's proposed changes to Title IX, which would protect trans people in schools. It's open to comment right now. So it's currently getting flooded by a lot of TERF comments, a lot of transphobe comments. So if you go in and make a comment in the affirmative in support of this change, that would be a material benefit to the community. Like I said, I saw Mersh had tweeted earlier today that they were doing that. So if you ever wanted to do something to actually make some kind of difference, at least if they ignore you, then you can say, hey, I made my voice known and they ignored it. Therefore, our government is no longer legitimate. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you got to play along in order to get something, like in order to push things a certain direction. Ghost Knots, can you participate if you're a minor? I am not totally sure. Like, I would say if this requires you to put any of your personal information in, then I would say not to fill it out if you're a minor, just in case. But oh Jesus, this thing is so long. Jiminy Christmas. Long document, wow. I don't even know how many printed pages that would be. It's so long. But yeah, right up at the top of the page there, it says submit a formal comment. And I would hope that they would have the option for it to be anonymous, but I cannot say, for I have not yet done it. I have only brought it to your attention because I forgot about it until it was on my stream notes. I'm so organized, y'all. Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Mersh reporting, you can sign up as anonymous. However, they will ask for your email. You can give them a burner email if you like. They're not checking. I didn't realize you said sweet and not sweet, as in like a gift. So long and thanks for all the fish. So sad that it should come to this. Nice, Caleb. Got my ID yesterday. Hell yeah. What's up, creature of the Fae? Boom shakalaka laka. What does that remind me of? The Boom Shakalaka thing just now reminded me of the Hercules and Xena animated movie. Anybody else? Did I just ring anyone else's childhood bell by mentioning? Nice. I'm glad you're giving yourself a substantial gift via going to Canada. That's a good birthday present. 40 people hanging out. I super appreciate it. If you've not hit like on the stream, please consider doing that. Perhaps that will goad me into talking to the news sooner. Penderson asks an interesting question. Don't you have a lot of genders too? Didn't you say you're non-binary, genderqueer, agender, transmasculine? What's up, Timerinia? Welcome in. So there's basically just like a number of ways to like describe where someone is relative to the gender binary. So like, for example, transmasculine just broadly means like I was assigned female and have done a physical transition that is similar to a trans man, but I don't identify as a man. So that kind of like just describes my relation to gender. And so does non-binary. That's a really broad... I think maybe some people would say their gender inherently is non-binary, but most people use that as just an umbrella term for numerous other identities that can fall within that label. I don't call myself genderqueer anymore. I did for a while, and that was like, I called that like, that's my quintessential gender label, but I don't use that word anymore. I guess I could use it to describe my gender expression. I'm more likely to use gender fuck at this time than genderqueer. Yeah, also TERFs, yeah, use the same color scheme as the genderqueer flag, so it's a little bit awkward. But I actually am like, quintessentially, I would say I'm agender, like, but all of these words are like still describing a relationship to gender, because at this time, what I'm saying is that I don't have one. You know, I have like urges to dress and be certain ways, and I don't have a specific one gender. I don't have one. Also, hello, Meme Joy. Been a while since I caught one of your streams. Hope you're doing okay. Things have been tough, but doing all right for now. Meme Joy sent this. My new favorite line. Come on. My God, I'm so angry I can't even gay straight. What a fantastic line. I don't know that I even understand it, but that's okay. I think our gender identities are opposite. You have no gender. I want all the gender. I mean, basically, I've just been like, I have numerous genderqueer feelings. I guess I'm like, gender fluid is not quite right, but it is fluxy. But I don't know. And so I was like, because it's so nebulous, I can just say genderqueer, and that encompasses all of it. But like, it did not prevent me from still trying to like think about and quantify my gender. Like, I don't know. And I just got really annoyed with that. I was like, I'm tired of thinking about it. Hello, Silent. Back from vacation and ready to watch stream? Hell yes. I'm excited you're back. If you just got done traveling and also getting an extensive amount of exercise while you were away. So I'll understand if you want to wait a couple days, but I'm excited to watch more Star Wars with you. So we should do that. But yeah, so like genderqueer was a word that was supposed to mean I can use any gendered word I want and I can express myself in any way, and I'm just non-binary and it doesn't matter. But I still found myself like being dysphoric about it. So after a long time of identifying as genderqueer, I'm like, oh no, actually, I'm not doing gender anymore. I mean, the thing is, Penderson, that if someone says I'm a trans man, demi-agender, gender punk, gender fuck, non-binary man, all those words are describing the same thing. Like all of those, like a lot of those words mean the same thing. Like non-binary man and demi-man and demi-agender are kind of all three like the same thing. Gender punk and gender fuck are the same thing. And like trans man just kind of is like the thing that you tell someone when you don't want to explain the rest of it. Xenogenders are so fucking cool. I agree. I think xenogenders are really cool. There was Chariot put out a tweet earlier about that. What did Chariot tweet? Oh, good grief. It's hard to search for her. Is it CH4? Yes, CH4. She had our like, oh, that sucks. Chariot's family dog passed away today. That's a bummer. Oh God. Okay, I can't find. Oh no, I found it. Okay, so yeah, we just love to see positive xenogender posting. A xenogender individual is functionally someone expressing their experience with gender through poetic language and metaphor. If you're politically inexperienced and you're against it, you have no brain. Or she made a correction. No understanding would be better than no brain, but she ran into the character limit. If you're politically experienced and you're against it, you have no soul. I thought this was a good thread, so I don't want to read all of it right now, but I liked it. Xenogenders be based. So basically, I'm agender / I'm xenogender dragon something. I don't know. Extremely common chariot W. True. Cryptogender. Sizukara says, my list so far: trans, non-binary, genderqueer, agender, gender fluid, gender flux, gender fair, demigirl, demi-man. Yeah, that's good stuff. Oh my god. I wonder if Chariot is going to stream later tonight. I think... hold on, real quick. Hold on, I want to do something real fast. I would like to ask you all to do something. I'm going to do another call to action that requires you to think a lot less, okay? If you have a Twitter, please go to this Twitter and leave a like and say something nice about Chariot and her dog. Because that's sad. It's a bad time. And you can say that you're a member of the Horde if you like, to give us credit for being nice people, but go say something nice to Chariot because she had to put her dog down. She says, after years of battling with cancer, his quality of life had gotten so poor it seemed like torture to prolong it. Our home is going to feel more empty without him around. I'll miss him. Boy howdy, is that not the truth. I've got, like, you know, Mitternacht who still wants attention pretty frequently, but it is definitely a much quieter and emptier home without the Lucy. Not fun. Identity is more than just gender, after all. It's just about how you specifically relate to it. True. Absolutely. The bigger the gender Horde, the bigger the heart. I love how many labels you can accrue just because, like, they describe something that is, like, adjacent to your experience. Oh, that's cool. My gender specifically is transmasc. I rarely hear it used that way, but I'm very excited when I do. Bunny Therians, yes. It's like, let me count the ways. Yeah, what exactly is a Therian? Is there anyone who can, like, who has a good bite-sized explanation of that? Because I kind of, like, don't understand what the distinction is between a Therian versus an otherkin versus, like, a more serious furry, you know? But I mean, I say that and I'm like, I'm not a judgment. I'm just saying, like, I don't get it. I support. I like your cool pronouns. That's pretty much all I got about it. Oh my god, excuse me. Burpee, burpee. Therian and otherkin are adjacent communities, but they have different histories that cross over. Someone who identifies as an animal on a deep personal level. Like, on a more... Otherkin is, like, mythical and Therian is, like, earthly? Oh my gosh. Otherkin used to be specifically more fantasy creatures. Therian was real-world creatures. Oh, okay. Geez, Chariot has over 100,000 tweets and she only has 4K followers. Yeah, Chariot has been the victim of, like, very likely false sexual assault allegations from an ex-girlfriend. So she just tries to, like, lay low and do her own thing and not take a leadership role so that people don't end up, like, suspicious of her. I find it really sad and unfortunate. And of course, when I talk to her publicly on like my platform, people call me a rape apologist. So that's the lot that we have. That's what we've signed up for. Wow. Semi-related, but I had the idea for a fictional setting in which vessels are grown from human cells, not conscious on their own, but they are fully animal bodies that humans can implant their consciousness into. So you could be fully biologically a wolf, and half the parts of a wolf brain that give you intuitive wolf instincts, but still a human consciousness. That would be cool as fuck. Oh, NBJ quotes something saying, Therians are a category that fall under otherkin. Otherkin is anyone who identifies as non-human. That includes Therians, mythkin, fictionkin, plantkin, etc. Don't tell the Therians they fall under otherkin. I don't know. So if I identify with dragon, does that make me more of an otherkin than a Therian? Because dragon is a beast, but also it's a fictional beast. I guess it also technically makes me a fictionkin and a mythkin, because it is also mythological. Felix says, I myself am polytherian, and that part of my identity is because of my spiritual beliefs. A lot of the time I just say alterhuman because it covers Therian and otherkin. Okay, that's cool. It's just cool to have a lot of different words to describe stuff, you know? Yeah, if you've never heard of Chariot, you should check her out. I like her critical analysis. It's pretty good. Again, there are 3 terms for dragons. You could be dragonkin, dragon therian, or just draconic. It depends on the community or term you found originally. You know, I find that tends to be true. Like, part of why I identified as genderqueer for such a long time was because that was the word when I came out as what you would later call non-binary. Like, I was just ahead of the curve on that. Like, I came out before it was cool, and therefore the only word that we had was genderqueer. But I like dragonkin because I just think it's a cool sounding word, and also it was the first word that I heard. It's also why some earth creatures use otherkin language over Therian language. Silent, with the tier 1 sub, says these terms broadly overlap, but the distinction matters to some people, and that's okay. It's one of my favorite memes. Absolutely one of my favorite memes. Thank you, Silent. I very much appreciate it. Welcome back from your vacation. I'm looking forward to hearing stories of your escapades. Ow! Yo, I started looking, so my partner and I have talked about this briefly, and we're gonna get back to it at some point, but like, likely my partner and I are gonna move to Washington. That's like the goal anyway. Like, that's the ideal thing that's gonna happen in 6 months at the end of our lease. So last night I looked up for the very first time, like, I was like, oh, what kind of rental opportunities there are, you know? Specifically, I was like, oh, we've been needing to move into like a house for a number of years because my partner is a tradesman and he has a lot of hobbies that are relevant to that. Yes, Washington State. So we need a garage. Like, a lot of the shit in my apartment is just like stuff that should be stored in a garage, like scraps of wood that could potentially be used for a project in the future sometime, but doesn't have a specific thing right now. So I started looking at like houses for rent near Seattle and Tacoma and fucking Everett, I think is there's one like another town like a little bit further north, but still along the coast there. Oh my God. I like, listen, I heard, like, I understood generally that rent in Kansas was pretty cheap compared to other places, right? Like, we pay $800 something a month for our apartment, you know, and like, I know that houses in our area are more expensive. Like, if we had tried to move into a house instead, it could have been more like $1,500. But then you like look at these places I'm like looking at 2-bedroom rental houses in Seattle area, and like, oh my God, it's so expensive. Like, you'd be lucky if you would get a rent like below $2,500, it looks like. And I'm also looking at like floor space, you know, like, you know, now that we currently live in a place that has like roughly 1,000 square feet, I don't want to then have our next place be someplace like that's only like 800 square feet. I'm like, I cannot live in an apartment that small or a house that small ever again. At least not with like the two of us plus cats. It's probably going to be a little bit easier with only one cat now, but still. Anyway, we've got an $18 minimum wage here, but nothing in place to keep landlords from taking all of that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for real. Like, I know that Washington state minimum wage is like $14.50, something along those lines. That's so crazy though. And like, thinking of it from a Midwesterner's perspective and like first month's rent, like if the place that you're about to move into costs like $2,500 to live per month, and they also want first month's rent, you have to have $5,000, and that's not including the fact that you're gonna have to U-Haul all your shit across the country. Like, that is insane. Seattle area is one of the highest cost of living in the country. I'm pretty sure I've heard cost of living there is even higher than in LA. That seems crazy. I was not anticipating that. Like, I was legitimately considering, like, I always thought that like New York and LA were going to be worse. Landlords suck. Caleb says mine took 2 months to pick up rent one time. Kansas isn't nice to LGBTQ people though. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the one good thing about being in Kansas, Robert, is that, excuse me, first of all, most of the places are equipped with air conditioning. Like, I think more often than not. So we're better able to handle like climate change and stuff. And like, we also might have, we might end up passing this, or we might end up successfully blocking this constitutional amendment. So Kansas has currently a constitutional right to abortion, and we have to vote soon. I'm going to probably be voting early and not waiting until August 2nd to do it. I'll probably just go during the week sometime. So we might be one of the places with like a guaranteed right to abortion, but I think you also can be that on the coasts, you know? Oh, that would be really helpful, Silent. Yeah. As we get closer, I would absolutely appreciate help with touring places. Because I was thinking about that myself. I was like, am I going to have to like drive up there to make a trip to like see apartments? Like, wow. Because I'm not going to fly. Fuck that. I'm not going to fly. All these horror stories that I hear on Twitter about what it's like to be on an airplane right now, catch me dead on an airplane right now. Ghost Knots. Yeah, I think that was last summer. Did you hear about that prison that had inmates yelling for help because of the intense heat? They had no air conditioning at all. I believe that was last summer. Or the summer before, maybe. How about I go to Kansas or a very conservative city with my shirt that says the future is non-binary? I mean, you know, depends on how much you're willing to risk. It's not that bad on airplanes right now. Been multiple times in the last year. How many people are wearing masks is my question. And now we have monkeypox. So like now I got to bring alcohol wipes and like wipe down my fucking seat. And like everything I touch. Oh my God. You got to look at a place. You can't trust raw square footage. There was one place DM looked at where the square footage was all in the hallways. Wow. That's crazy. My house has zero air conditioning. My room is basically hell incarnate. That's going to be the one thing that's going to be a major adjustment if we successfully move to Washington, is going to be okay with potentially living in a place that doesn't have air conditioning, you know? Anyway. I'm probably going to top off my water here in a sec, and then we'll find some news to talk about. I have several things on my docket today. I only put 2 of them in the title, so I guess technically we already talked about Title IX commentary, so take a minute to familiarize yourself with that when we get done with stream, and make your comments to support changes to the Title IX recommendations that will protect trans kids in schools. Because honestly, like a lot of these attacks that are going against trans kids, like these trans like sports bans and shit, are like largely targeting schools. Having specific protections for them in bathrooms and shit are going to be important. If you move to Washington, we need to meet up sometime. I am so weird about fan meetups. I am like, I don't want to ever broadcast like where I'm going to be before I'm there. I'm pretty much like, I'm going to get murdered if I ever tell anyone where I'm going to be. But then, like, you know, Markiplier is a huge creator and he does fan meetups sometimes, so maybe I'm just overly paranoid. Yeah, Washington State, because of British Columbia. Yeah, I kind of figure like if we move to Seattle area, then it'll be relatively easy to, it'll be easier at least to do job interviews in Canada and stuff like that. Because immigration wise, like you actually do have to have a reason for being in the country. It's not just like Washington where I can show up and be like, "What's up? Give me a job and an apartment, please." Markiplier is also a cis man. Yeah, that's the thing too. He's a cis man and he doesn't really talk about politics very much. The title says Republicans want to deny queer kids school lunch. I'm pretty sure they say there's no such thing as queer kids. Yeah, it's this great double standard where they say there's no such thing as queer kids, but they also are like, we want schools to be able to deny school lunch to trans and queer kids. Anyway, you know, you're right, Baphomet. Whenever Mark does talk about politics, he's always extremely based. He's explicitly pro-trans. He's pro-BLM. Oh, true. So Silent says, if Demon Mama does a fan meetup after Luxander moves to Seattle, just go to those and maybe you'll run into Luxander. True. That's very likely. What's up, Paul Hack in the YouTube chat? Hello. Okay, let me top off my water, and then I think we might start off with good news today. We'll start off with a good news. How does that sound? Sound good? Let's do it. I'm waiting for the bad news. I gotta get some Hades in before bed. Yeah, you might as well just get some Hades in. I mean, I don't know that I'm gonna have a whole lot of commentary on the bad news TBH today. Oceanography says, tuning in during my lunch break. Gotta watch the rest when I get home. Hell yeah. Lunch break. Are you in Australia? 14 hours ago yesterday? I don't know how time streams work. Time streams. Well, thank you, Wreckage. I appreciate. So I have one good news that I want to share. Like, is this the only one? Yeah, this is the only good news. There's only one. Whoopsie. All right. We have one good news today. All right. We're starting with the one singular good news that we have. The state of Massachusetts passed a law saying that gender-affirming care is a right protected in its constitution. It also protects doctors from out-of-state lawsuits and subpoena requests. Lastly, it's going to protect abortion care in the same way. It's a great day for Massachusetts. So, document here says, access to reproductive healthcare services and gender-affirming healthcare services is a right secured by the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth. Interference with this right, whether or not under the color of law, is against the public policy of the Commonwealth. So I think in that that effectively makes Massachusetts a sanctuary state. If so you could go from a state where it's not legal, to a state where it is legal, like to go to Massachusetts where it is legal, and then you wouldn't be able to be subpoenaed. Although this one doesn't specifically say, I don't know if this specifically says that you cannot be extradited. Because that's one of the key things there is if they declare like, we will not extradite someone from our state to your state in order for you to prosecute them for this thing that's legal in our state. Even if the other state tries to, you've been hearing whispers of them trying to pass laws that are like, not only is it illegal for you to get an abortion here, but it's also illegal for you to cross the state lines to get an abortion. And then you have situations where cops are asking like a few more questions than they might normally would when a mom takes her teenage daughter across the state border to go to a rugby tournament or some shit like that. Just, an increased scrutiny. and restrictions on your right to travel. It's extremely fascist. Don't worry about it. Yeah, based Massachusetts. We get one good news as a treat. Just right there at the beginning. That's the one good news you get. That's it. Like, I hope you enjoyed it, because the world is bad from this point forward. What's up, Gayfesh? How's it going? I was just saying to everyone how horrendously high the rents are in Seattle. I know you saw my tweet, but like, for the first time, I just started looking at how much it costs to rent a house up there, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know how we're gonna do this. Like, I gotta save up that much money in 6 months. Massachusetts was the first state to legalize gay marriage, so it doesn't surprise me. Yeah, it's been too hot to record my podcast this week. Oh no. Yeah, I do remember Massachusetts being like consistently good about this stuff. Go across the border, take your hormones, and go back. True. Yeah, you think you get to travel the earth in the country of the free? No. It's been a little bit cooler in my neck of the woods this week, actually. On the other hand, it's been like flooding, I think, in Missouri. So it's cooler because of the rain, but it's also raining a lot. So the flooding, like, we have two natural disasters that happen in Kansas. One of them is flooding. The other one is tornadoes. So that's pretty much where we're at. But I've been enjoying the rain. I like waking up and having it be like just in the background. True. They also had a straight pride parade. Didn't only like 20 people show up to the straight pride parade in Massachusetts? Luxander, true, crestfallen. I actually do have an old ASMR video on my channel. For a state that used to burn witches, it's surprising how far Massachusetts has come. Well, all those people who were burning witches ended up moving further south and west. True. I should have gone to see if I could pass as a straight man at the time. Could have been fun. Oh gosh. So on the docket today. On the diggity docket today. I got 4 newses. 4 newses. Oh my god, Ghostnot says my ceiling caved last night and a shit ton of water came out. Oh my god. That's not good. Jesus. Okay, so I guess I'll start with the one in the title. Republicans sue USDA. We'll talk about this. If you're here and you have not yet hit the like button, please consider hitting the like button. There is always a direct correlation between an influx of likes and an influx of new viewers, which means that apparently if you like the video, YouTube is like, oh, I should probably show this thing to like some other people. Maybe. So thank you for doing that. This show is free for viewers like you, but also supported by viewers like you. It's PBS now. Brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. Okay, so Ken Paxton, who we goddamn just keep hearing news about, and I really wish that I didn't know anything about him. Look at, that's a really, is that his face or is that just a really unfortunate screenshot? Just a really unflattering screenshot. NBC DFW5 News apparently has something against Attorney General Ken Paxton from the state of Texas. So it's not just him that is at issue in this story. More than 20 Republican attorneys general have filed a lawsuit against the Biden administration over a Department of Agriculture school meal program that prohibits discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. So that is what Texas AG Ken Paxton wants to go down in history for, apparently. Let's move in some stuff around here really quick. When am I going to revive Zoom? What are you talking about? I'm so confused. I'm looking at other photos of Ken Paxton. It's just what he looks like. Oh, okay. Unfortunate. So yeah, it's like, why are they, wait, what about the Department of Agriculture? What does the Department of Agriculture have anything to do? Zoom on PBS. Oh yeah, I didn't ever actually watch PBS. I'm stolen valor making references to public TV. So the lawsuit of the Department of Agriculture is like school meal program that prohibits discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. That's what it says right there. The challenge, which is being led by Tennessee Attorney General Herbert Slattery, claims that the federal government is attempting to force states and schools to follow anti-discrimination requirements that, quote, misconstrue the law. I think this is why there's that Title IX change that Biden is attempting to implement, so that these people cannot say that it's a misconstruing of the law. Like Biden is saying, well, let me make it absolutely clear in the law that when I say sex discrimination or gender discrimination in Title IX, that applies to trans people as well. That makes sense. So the Coalition of Attorneys General are hoping for a similar result to a separate challenge from earlier this month, when a Tennessee judge temporarily barred 2 federal agencies from enforcing directives issued by Biden's administration, which extended protections for queer people in schools and workplaces. The judge had sided with the attorneys general, ruling that the directives infringed on a state's right to enact laws such as banning students from participating in sports based on their gender identity. Oh my God, that's depressing. They were like, the states have the right to discriminate on people based on a protected class. So that's ultimately, like, that's why, really, like, that's why Title IX is being revised. So good. Still depressing though. So Slattery says this case is yet again about a federal agency trying to change law, which is Congress' exclusive prerogative. The USDA simply does not have that authority. We have successfully challenged the Biden administration's other attempts to rewrite law, and we will challenge things as well. So, like, in the midst of all of that stupid shit that he's saying, he's like, oh, a federal agency is trying to change the law. You know, the states have the right to In this instance, the states, you know, whenever we have this conversation with Confederate supporters, we go like, states' rights to what, hunty? Because it's the states' rights to slavery that you're trying to defend. In this case, when you say states' right to what, in this instance is states' rights to decline to give school lunch to trans and queer kids. Like, he's like, Title IX has been misconstrued as applying to trans kids and people who have different sexual orientation. So okay, so yeah, so in May, the USDA announced that it would include discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity as a Title IX violation, which was the sweeping 1972 law that guarantees equity between the sexes in, quote, any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. The directive requires states to review allegations of discrimination based on gender identity and sexual orientation. So the agency had warned that states and schools that receive federal funds have agreed to follow civil rights laws, basically. So, according to the lawsuit, the attorneys general alleged that the USDA's new directive is based on a, quote, misreading of the Supreme Court's ruling and did not provide states and other groups the opportunity to provide public comment. The attorneys general involved in the suit, God damn it, the attorneys general involved in the suit filed Tuesday are from Alabama. So if you're from any one of these states, go look up who your attorney general is and find a way to send them a message. Like, pull up ResistBot or something, find their phone number to, like, or their email. Be kind in the email, because it's probably some poor staffer who's going to read it, you know? So don't be overly unkind, but, like, if you're from any of these states, your attorney general is trying to cuck trans kids from getting to school lunch. Fucking God, nightmare. Anyway, we have Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Georgia, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, and West Virginia. If you live in any of those states, please contact your attorney general and tell them what a huge piece of shit they are for trying to make it so that trans and queer kids are like trying to allow the states to choose to not let kids eat at school is what we're up against here. So yeah, that's 22 states. This is the hell world. We live in a hell world where our extremely vulnerable children are like the piece on the board of this game that we're playing. It is not acceptable. It is so beyond acceptable. So I will definitely be letting Kansas Attorney General Kansas Attorney General Derek Schmidt will be hearing from me. Thank you. Yikes. How do they expect kids to sit in class for hours and learn on an empty stomach? I mean, they kind of like already do this to poor kids. Like, poor kids already have to deal with this. And no, it's not good for their learning. It's like they should have snacks throughout the day, and yeah. Roe v. Wade completely dismissed any notion of authenticity I held toward the states' rights argument. Republicans said that it was a good thing to overturn it because it put abortion rights in the hands of the states, then immediately got on board with Pence's proposed federal abortion ban. They don't care about states' rights. They just care about saying whatever they can to gain power over people. Pretty much. Maybe the federal government needs to threaten to remove funding from conservative states that discriminate against trans kids. Well, that's what this is. Like, that's literally what that's what's at issue here with Otro, is that the USDA is like, if you receive federal funding, then you need to follow this interpretation of Title IX, right? And then this lawsuit is them saying, like, your interpretation should not apply to us. And we're going to get all pissed off that you're it's basically like, if you discriminate against trans kids, you're not going to be receiving this funding. You are only receiving this funding on account of following these civil rights rules that we've made. Schooling is already structured in a way that disincentivizes learning. Nothing new here. Yeah, the study of learning itself is kind of a unique and very new thing. Like, we don't actually know very much about what teaching is actually effective. We've just kind of like been doing teaching in a certain way for a long time. And like, now that we're starting to get some research and evidence on what is effective and not effective, then it's just about it's about like change then at that point being difficult to impart because we've already been entrenched in these patterns for a long time. But like, for example, I've learned a very tiny bit about Montessori, and it seems like Montessori is a really great way to learn. They just have, it's a much looser structure. They learn fractions by cooking, they learn their fractions by like baking. They're like a quarter cup, half cup, whatever. In Montessori, you just go to the bathroom. Like, you don't have to ask your teacher for permission to go pee and your teacher to tell you no. Robert says my state's AG is the worst transphobe ever. Where are you? Like, whomst? It seems like they all suck. I didn't realize it was 22 states that were going to be like, we should be able to deny trans kids school lunch. A family member of mine just got hired at a Montessori school, and I'm so happy for them, but also envious of the kids. I never did Montessori myself, but I've heard a lot about it, and it seems like a great way to teach kids. Mersh says, did you hear about Florida allowing high school graduates to teach secondary subjects with no certification whatsoever? They're allowing veterans' wives to teach just because they were married to a veteran 30 years ago. What the fuck? Hey, E. Lawrence, how are you doing? Howdy. Oh, Arkansas, yeah. Arkansas. State AG is not good there. Yeah, Finn, I agree. Finn in the YouTube chat says, God, it hits so hard when it's kids. You know, school lunches started thanks to the Black Panthers, if I remember correctly. IDK, it just feels like any steps marginalized people make, it get quashed. Yeah, it is not a good feeling. I know, I usually say Emily, and then I was like, I don't know if I should actually just use the name that's actually on the screen. Ooh, drink water. My throat so dry. Okay, cool. Ideally, states' rights as a concept should only apply to the rights of state officials to control their respective economies and environment. All rights afforded to individuals should be federally protected, including the legalization of all drugs. E is also the first letter of my dead name. Ah, I understand. I see. Robert says that the Attorney General of Arkansas, Leslie Rutledge, like, her tweets are scary. What is this new era that we live in where, like, fucking politicians are drumming up stochastic terrorism on their Twitter accounts? I guess it's like Trump is the one who normalized it, and now a bunch of lower level politicians are doing the same thing, but it's pretty fucking irritating, TBH. Oh my god, excuse me. I burpee. Okay. The Raccoon Pope, gotta go, but hopefully I'll be back before stream's over. I have no idea how long we're going tonight, but hopefully we'll see you later. And if not, then maybe we'll see you Sunday. Oh, by the way, just so you all know, for future reference, through the entire month of September and like a good chunk of October as well, probably almost all of October as well, I might be back for that last Sunday, but I will not be streaming on Sundays for like 2 months. It'll just be Thursdays and Tuesdays. I think the most legitimate reason to keep drugs legal or controlled is the trafficking of said drugs being arguably something that causes harm. I agree, you know? Just so chat knows, if I manage to get asylum, I'll be telling all the chats I'm in because I want people to be able to be safe to go. Yeah, supremacists have infiltrated with the awfulness being excused. They were given an inch and took miles. Yeah, like, I think Twitter even actually implemented an more stringent TOS, and they nuked a lot of conservative accounts, so they had to adjust it in order to not seem politically biased against conservatives, which is just like one of the most stupid things I've ever heard. I'm half tempted to make an asylum claim while I'm up in Canada, but I have no means of surviving up there. So the difficulty in applying to asylum in Canada is that there has to be nowhere in your country that is safe for you to be. So basically, the existence of Massachusetts as a sanctuary state for trans people means that you cannot apply for asylum in Canada. Now, if they pass federal legislation, perhaps, but that's like the main reason why you cannot apply for asylum from the United States. So unless things go like nationwide, go to the shitter, you're not going to be able to apply for asylum. You'll have to look at, I literally just closed all the tabs for this before starting stream to free up resources on my computer. But there are multiple different avenues by which you can apply through the immigration process. A lot of them are like, you have a job waiting for you in Canada, you know? There's a lot of different ones. And I was looking at the self-employed one, and I was like, I mean, technically, I have been self-employed for more than 2 years as a video audio technician. It was one of the options, but I don't know if they will want, like, me specifically because I don't work with anyone. Like, there are certain self-employed qualifications that can get you there. Legit, if there's anywhere in the world I could live besides Vancouver, it would be Germany. I think, like, eventually the move is going to be like, I want to live in a walkable city that has few cars. So seems likely that eventually I'd like to at least visit Europe and scope it out. My sister-in-law was telling me that in Italia right now that they're trying to get people to move there by like subsidizing people moving into old houses, and like not just them moving into the old houses, but specifically subsidizing them renovating and like refurbishing the houses. So that would be kind of cool. It sounds like a lot of work to like refurbish a whole fucking ancient house, but I was amazed at how bikeable Madison, Wisconsin is. That's cool. I was thinking about getting a bike, but it's not really going to do me much good right now. I have no hope for emigrating as I live on disability. Jimsy, it used to be that disabled people were not allowed into Canada, but one of my personal friends actually had that changed, I believe. So, I mean, I would just say, like, check out the website before you give up on it entirely. Let me see. So this is the website that shows you just all the different options. Here, I'll post it on the website chat as well. This is the page that I was looking at from the canada.ca/en/immigration. It's like express entry, family sponsorship, caregivers, self-employed. So you could immigrate by starting a business, a startup visa. So I did not even look through half of this shit, because I was like, oh, I only need to look at a few of these. So that's just, you know, keep it in mind, consider it, see what's going on. Apparently Athens, Barcelona, and Amsterdam are all relatively non-car reliant cities. Nice. And it's like the European Union, so you can travel to like multiple different countries. And they got trains over there, and they got healthier food. I've heard that like people from Europe will move over here and they will like eat the same kinds of food, the same diet. Yeah, I said Barcelona the right way. And then so they'll move here to the US and they'll just get fatter and like not changed the kind of food that they're buying or their amount of exercise. And then they go back to Europe and they don't change any of their habits again, and they just lose weight. Because apparently our food is just full of fucking fillers shit all the time. Just garbage food. But I'm like, I crave a burger so bad. You know? I am like very much almost out of money right now. I'm like, oh no, I won't make a grilled cheese. I thought the C in Barcelona was pronounced with a lisp, not as a TH. It's like, I mean, it's like, I think it's a intermediate sound between a C and a TH, but because I don't have a fine pronunciation, I'm gonna be like in the middle of the two. Like, it's usually you roll the R to Barcelona. I don't actually know why that is either. Linguistically, I just know that that's how I hear people say it. So Jimsy says, for now I'm headed to Pittsburgh because there's a support network for me there. That's an important thing too. Like having a support network where you move. Isn't the intermediate sound between an S and a TH a lisp? I think it is considered a lisp if you are incapable of making the other sounds. Like, I think that there's probably just a word for what that sound is. Spanish from Spain speaks Spanish, the language, differently from most other places. Yeah, no, Emily, it's really cool. I like how Spanish is, I mean, it's kind of impractical, actually, because in the United States, when you learn Spanish in school, you're learning formal Spanish that would be used in Spain, which is not very useful for talking to any of your friends who speak Spanish. Pittsburgh is a very cheap city to live in, very walkable and rideable. That sounds good. It's still in the United States, though. I am too close. Like, I don't... Like, you cannot get far enough away from the United States as far as I'm concerned. I'm like, I want to go to Washington, and only as a stepping stone to getting to Canada. But there are friends in Washington. Like, I will potentially have a support network there. I could potentially see people more often than I do now. I failed Spanish too, says Caleb. I never even took Spanish, so... In my experience, pronouncing S requires my front teeth to be pressed together, and TH requires tongue to be between teeth. And the in-between is my bottom row of teeth sliding against the top row of teeth. Do we need to get out the pink trombone to fucking settle this? There are many friends in Washington. We are all here and all gay. I'm kind of wondering if I should, oh, you do... Baphomet, have you not been here when we've done pink trombone? Do we need to do pink trombone? It's been a while. It's been a few weeks, right? A few weeks is a long time. I was kind of wondering if maybe I should try to visit, like, just to, like, visit with some of you friends of mine, like, before I just fucking show up there with my partner and, like, now I live here, you know? So we're gonna do pink trombone really quick. I'm like, should I fly? Should I drive? I'm not gonna fly. So I would have to drive, and it would take like 2 days to get there. Yeah, I don't know. So maybe let's do the pink trombone. I'm just south of Washington. Oh yeah, you're in Oregon. Okay, hold on. Let me make sure my volume is okay. Is that too loud? No, that's not too loud. So this is the pink trombone. It's a way to simulate a voice. It's a way to simulate what's happening inside of a mouth. So you can, like, before I let the sound go again, I'll show you, like, so this is... Okay, hold on. Shush, shush, shush. Always voice, we're turning that off for a second. Nasal cavity right here. Soft palate. Hard palate. Lip. Nasals, stops, fricatives. Tongue control. So you control, like, where the tongue is positioned in the mouth. And this is the throat back here. Oh, that's interesting, because I turned off the always voice. It's like... That's like what the sound is right there. So what were we doing? Oh, we're trying to figure out Barcelona. It's like... It's up here somewhere, right? It's between... It's like the lip / right behind the teeth, right? It's almost a Z if you were to put more air behind it. Anyway, we can be done with that now. Oh, gosh. Yeah, honestly, like, the pink trombone would be better if I had a fucking iPad or something, like a tablet, so that you could do multiple touch points. Because as it is, it's kind of difficult. Yeah, normally I crack up really hard at the... Yes, Crestfallen, that is exactly right. Markiplier and Ethan were the reason that I found out what the pink trombone was, I think. And it just always makes me laugh. And I'd managed to not crack up this time. Normally, if I play with the pink trombone for any amount of time, I'm like cracking myself up and fucking losing my mind for no reason. I heard that Spanish royalty was very inbred, and one of the Habsburg kings had a lisp. Since he was the king, his Spanish was the proper Spanish and always has been since. I mean, I would not be surprised by that, TBH. Yeah, it's really interesting. Language and, like, how you do shit in your mouth is all very weird. All of European royalty is inbred as heck. True. That's why we have Game of Thrones. We have Game of Thrones specifically because of the royalty being all heckin' inbred. John Craig says, I'm going to finish Stranger Things. All the best. Good night. I have not watched that. Good luck. Heck and heck. I know, heckaroony. Should I get heck tattooed on my knuckles? No, I don't want to do that. That sounds terrible. Sam in the YouTube chat says, in places like Spain, Guinea Equatorial, etc., soft C and Z are like a TH, like Barcelona and cerebro. But in other places, it's like an S. Hard C sounds like it does in English. For example, Carlos and brincar. But it was a regional accent. That's why different places that were part of the Spanish Empire have accents similar to the people who colonized there. That's pretty cool. I would get 2 slurs on my knuckles, but that would make life difficult. Yeah. Did anyone else see that tweet going around that was like, a person was like, hey, what is the, like, how firm is the anti-slur policy at the GSA meeting? And the person was like, do not wear your faggot shirt. Heck on one, dick on the other. True. No, I've not watched Stranger Things. It just doesn't seem like it would be up my alley, so I've never gotten around to it. My best friend sent me that pic and said, you. True. I'm like, now I've become a person who wishes I had a shirt that says faggot on it. Like, that's who I've become. I didn't know that was what's going to happen. I know, I can't help it. Me neither. Just such a dripping FAG. With that drip, though, hopefully people don't think you're a homophobe. I guess the shirt would have to say I am a, and then it'll be more obvious that I am not a homophobe. I can't help how big of a dyke I am. It's in my nature, you know? I appreciate the big stud vibes. The butch vibes dripped out F.A.G. Anyway, if you've not hit like on the stream, please consider doing that. We are like so successful for a tiny channel, like me having only like a less than 30,000 subs, but having a consistent like 40-ish people here whenever we stream. Things are going so well, y'all. I'm so glad that you all want to hang out with me. The thing about slurs is that they're a lot less capable of being used in a harmful or abusive way if they're reclaimed. Think of queer, for example. Oh, is stud a POC term? Okay, yeah. I knew that and then forgot it, and you reminded me. Thank you. Well, and also queer is like what you call it in school. Like if you go to college and you take a class on it, it's fucking queer studies. So yeah, it takes the power out of it. You think 30,000 is small? I'm not even at double digits yet. I mean, yeah, if I've been making content for like 7 years, then yes, 30,000 is small. Like, sorry, but I am still a small creator. Bigger than some. Big enough to like be making a decent living, but still a small creator. 30K is like definitely still small. There are so many words in the queer community that are actual names. Really? I didn't know that gay was a name. I know butch is like a nickname. Ace is a name or a nickname. Tiny Lux, small but mighty, true. Someday we will usurp Vosh and steal his platform. But for now, watch yourself, Vosh. Watch it. Do you like having a small community? I like having the community that has the vibes that it has. I don't know that it matters to me how big it is. I mean, as long as the vibes are the same, the only reason the size of my audience makes a difference to me is because it directly correlates with other numbers, you know, like such as being able to pay my rent, etc. I guess in a way it's nice to have it so small and personal. Someday I'm not going to be able to read every single comment in chat, you know? Vosh and his horse cocks can't handle Lux and its dragon dicks. I feel like I would. Can I show? I have this toy that is dragonish, but also, is it TOS? That's kind of what I thought. That's kind of what I assumed. Even though this one doesn't actually look like a dick, it's just like dragony. What was it called? Was it just called Orochi? It's not TOS if you're doing a review because it's considered educational. I know. If you're showing it off or using it as a decoration, it's TOS. Yeah, they actually recently added that exception to the nudity rules because of, you know, like trans creators who want to review prosthetics and stuff. Would you say it's good Dragon-esque or, good? I mean, I can't show you the picture. You're still getting demonetized though. Well, that's what I'm saying is it's like, it's even in the advertising, it's supposed to be that like you don't get a yellow thing if you're reviewing sex toys, but I don't know. You can put a link. Yeah, I'm not gonna click it. Does Vosh know who you are? Yeah, Vosh knows who I am. Whenever I stop by and say hello in chat, he usually says hello to me. And I spoke with him once on a big all-day call-in stream, you know? But only for like 5 minutes, so I haven't really spoken to him that much. I pop in chat sometimes, and he acknowledges that I exist, and it's pretty cool. I don't have very close friendships with anyone. I'm working on it. Yeah, it is... What size did I get? I got one that's big enough that I can't use it all the time. So, we're doing horny chat right up top here. I think I found you through him, actually. That's, yeah. You know what's really funny, though, is that sometimes people are like, oh, I found Vosh through you. And I'm like, why? Like, how did that happen? Do you have a dragon name? My personal name is my dragon name. Things take time and YouTube suppresses creators with less than 1K subs. Yeah, if you just keep posting, like, consistently is the thing. I've heard Bad Dragon is a bad company. I've heard bad things about them as well, but I've never had issues. Like, I mean, I've purchased from them 3 times. The first 2 times I bought adopts. So I bought ones that had like a slight defect on the, like whatever, like a slight defect on the base. And then I bought one during quarantine. I bought the Orochi, and that one, like, I actually had to wait for it to be made before it was sent to me, and it was timely and everything. I heard of you from Samantha Lux. When did Samantha Lux mention me? I didn't know that. I like Samantha Lux. I have watched some of her content before. They are the biggest name in the fantasy dildo industry, so they have the best quality control. I've heard that they're like not great with their employees, and they're not great at shipping things out in a timely fashion, but like I said, I've never personally had an issue with Bad Dragon, so... I do follow other creators, but also, like, smaller creators don't have stock all the time. You're sitting there waiting for a drop, and then they do a drop, and you have to be, like, on it in order to get one, or you miss out, you know? Custom-made toys are apparently low priority, so they take ages to ship. Yeah, as opposed to, like, the ones that they can just do repeatedly. Any hoozle. Oh, apparently Bad Dragon has also been recently having an issue with not properly coloring a customer's toy. Like when they want custom colors. Sam says, I found your videos because you came up and I recommended when I was watching Cat Black like 7 years ago. She suggested you in a vid. Samantha Lux suggested me in a vid where she talked about what non-binary was and suggested me as a non-binary creator to check out. That's cool. I appreciate it. Thank you, Samantha. You are one of the trans women who's hot enough that I pull up a picture of you sometimes to be like, really? You think this person should be in the men's room? One of the biggest critiques of the company used to be that the owner was massively transphobic back in the day, but now we're at a point where E621 uses non-fetishizing terminology and includes lore tags for trans characters. Nice. Yeah, salute the YouTube algorithm. Hello, Bobby, in the YouTube chat, whose only comment is equipment. I tried to choke myself. But I succeeded in not dying. Okay. That is good. Don't die. Yeah, I gotta keep this tab open for later because Kansas Attorney General Ken Paxton, or Kansas Attorney General Derek Schmidt is gonna get an earful from me later. What a gigantic wingus. Moist equipment. I mean, fair enough. I found you 4 years ago when you did some videos on atheism and why being visibly queer is hard. Yep, I remember that period of time. When you choke yourself, but not in the kinky way. I know. I don't find breath play to be very kinky. I mean, like obviously it is objective. I'm saying I don't find it hot. It's not kinky for me. Bobby's doing a choose your own adventure stream. Ooh, Smuggy Baphomet. Smuggy. Oh, you can say equipment if you don't want to say toys. True. Okay, fair enough. Oh, so Samantha Lux did a video called No, Ariel Scarcella Non-Binary is Not Sexist. I was watching it with my friend Deity on his stream, and we were looking at content about the subject. That's cool. Can't wait till I've got a dick and can get sheaths. I've really never considered that. Most of the sheaths have like a thing that goes around the bowls, and I don't want bowls, so I have not really considered whether I could get a sheath. Interesting. For my future penis, someday, hopefully, maybe. I think I would, is it reasonable to ask the universe, like, I would like to have a dick before I'm 35? I'm 28 right now. Can we just say, like, by the time I'm 35, that would be pretty cool. Transmasc people should be able to get phalloplasty with knots, like dogs and dragons, or medial rings like horses. Just like fancy, cool cocks. Whatever they'll heal as, that would be cool. Oh gosh, what do we have here? What is next? What is next? What is next? Let's go to a news. The news. Oh, are you considering having bottom surgery? The consideration phase is over. Like, the only, further consideration that needs to be done is, which surgeon and how much money is it going to cost? I made a big video about it, a year ago. That was, just general information about bottom surgery and stuff. And then at the end of the video, I'm like, yes, I plan on getting bottom surgery. I want to be able to move it around. Yes, true, Baphomet. I can get behind this. Give trans men prehensile tentacle cocks. They need to be tentacly, And they also, what would be really cool is if we could do oviposition. That would be great. Anyway, we're about to talk about another news. If you haven't hit like, I see we've just had a bump of new people come in. Hit like on the stream, pretty please. We're going to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene now. Yeah, we need 4 of them. We need 4 tentacle cocks. Future humans and their prehensile penises. God. It's going to make my dysphoria flare if I think about it too much, all right? I wonder how many more crazy things Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to do before she gets ousted from her position. I already think that she's been removed from committee positions within the House of Representatives. So, yeah, so Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican representative from Georgia's 14th district in the United States House of Representatives, keeps indicating that she would really, really, really like to find out. She's fucking around. It kind of sounds like she really wants to find out. So her latest crazy thing that she's done is just straight up come out and say that they should be Christian nationalists. Like, she is a Christian nationalist. Like, and I didn't believe it initially, you know, like, this is the thing that always happens with our streams here. We hear like, oh, someone said something outrageous, and then I say, well, I don't want to just take it on your word that that's what they said. So then we go actually find the video, and it's like pretty much as bad as people said it was. So let's take a look here. She says in a quote right here, like, maybe I don't even want to read the quotes. Maybe I just want to let her speak for herself and just do like a live react through it. But yeah, so the TLDR is that she basically was like, straight up, we should be Christian nationalists. So like, let's just do a volume check and get her playing in here. Let's get it started in the hall. Let's get it started in here.
Taylor Hansen here with Next News
Okay, that's too quiet. You want to bring it up a little bit?
Network, and I am here.
Just a little bit more. Okay, that's probably going to be good. Okay, thank you. No closed captions. I apologize, no closed captions on this one. As per usual, when we're looking at videos that were posted on Twitter, they typically don't have captions. So let's see. I don't know who this person is. She's being interviewed by someone.
Taylor
And this is about 5 minutes long.
Hansen here with Next News Network, and I am here with the one and only beautiful Marjorie Taylor Greene. Say hello to everyone, Marjorie.
Oh, hi everyone, and I'm happy to be here with you, Taylor.
So I just have a few questions for you today. First
Okay.
off being, what do you think is the primary focus of the GOP going into 2022? What should it be opposed to what is it?
Oh, wow, that's a tough question because there's a lot of things that should be. I think Republicans really need to recognize the people that
As opposed to what it should, like, the question was like, what are the Republicans doing now versus what they should be doing? I'm curious to see if she is critical of any of the things that they're doing now, because they just seem to be getting further and further right and more radicalized.
they represent. Okay, they're voters, not the lobbyist donors, not the corporate PACs, not those people. That's not who the Republican Party should represent. We need to be the party of nationalism, and I'm a Christian, and I say it proudly. We should be Christian nationalists.
Oh, it's really just right up front there. She just right up front. I wonder if this guy is going to ask her what she means by that. Because, like, there is a distinction between patriotism and nationalism. I find them both creepy, but there is a distinction.
And when Republicans learn to represent most of the people that vote for them, then we will be the party that continues to grow without having to chase down certain identities or chase down, certain segments of people. We just need to represent Americans, and most Americans, no matter how they vote, really care about the same things.
I just really don't think that that's an honest thing to say. I just don't think that's... I mean, she's basically just like assuming that because Republicans win votes, that it's because they represent a majority of Americans, when in reality, the reason that they keep fucking winning is because of the Electoral College and all the gerrymandering. We are being ruled by a Christo-fascist minority.
And I want to see Republicans actually do their job. That's
Absolutely.
what I want to see.
Okay.
Crazy, right?
No, don't be effective. Please, God, don't be effective as Republicans.
First time in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, we might continue to hold power.
Might have a heart attack. Woo.
Yeah.
So another question for you is, as a woman...
She's like, oh, we might continue to hold power if we actually buckle down. This is, she is very unsettling to me. Like, something about her makes my skin crawl, and I don't love it. And I wish that I didn't have to look at her ever again or think about her ever again.
in Congress. How do you feel about having more balls than the majority of congressmen currently sitting on the seats right now?
This is a trick question. You know, I'm a two-gender person, and I don't really have any balls.
Hey, that is the politically
but
correct answer.
I am a woman. I am a woman.
Wow, she had to clarify like I don't have balls when the guy was using it metaphorically to say like you have more balls than the other people in that. Wow, yeah. I
don't even know. You're cracking me up. I don't know. I want everyone else to do it too. You know, they need to have courage, and we just have to do the right thing.
What inspires you to do the right thing?
God inspires me. That's what inspires me the most is
creepy. God, I think that if an elected official, if you ever ask an elected official like what is your number one influence in your life, or what is the number one reason for you doing any single thing, like I think that you should just not be allowed to be a public office person if you say that like your political principles are guided by God. Like, why do we think that this is okay? I'm not saying that Christians should not be able to hold office, to be completely specific about what I'm saying here. I think that if you are willing to be like, yeah, like the number one motivator in my life is God, and like politically my number one motivator is God, like you should not be making rules about anybody else. This is how we ended up in this fucking situation where we don't have the right to an abortion anymore. Like, it's up to the states now. Wow, so much better this way. And also, like, making it criminal to cross state borders in order to get abortions. Oh my God, to the point where we have to have fucking sanctuary state laws. It's great. Like, I'm really kind of, like, losing it. If we're being completely honest. I have no idea if there's anything else interesting in this interview.
I just am a big believer. It doesn't make me perfect. I am not perfect. But I do believe that I have a job to do. I believe all of us have a job to do, and that means we do it to our fullest and do it the best we possibly can every single day.
I mean,
I don't have anything to fear.
In theory, that's good.
I know you've kind of been paying close attention. You've been very outspoken on the child drag shows that have been taking place all around the country,
we are going to talk about this.
Specifically in Texas.
Thank you, and thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you for pushing legislation and, really shining a light on this topic.
What legislation?
Do you think, culturally wise, what does this reflect, in our culture? What does this say about where America is
Here
heading?
We go.
And how do we fix it?
I think it
I'm ready to be called a fucking groomer. Here we go.
shows a severe sickness. We have a sickness in America. We really do have a war of good versus evil, or evil versus good.
So we're evil. Just take a little note. Just take a little note on that. We are evil, and we must be stopped. And that is the position that this woman holds. This woman wants us dead. She's really trying to find out, ultimately. I need to get out of this country. God, I'm not telling, I don't want to.
The fact that they're doing this to kids is, you don't even have words. And I know you've seen it first.
Dress up is so traumatizing to children, by the way. Playing dress up is just incredibly bad.
I see your videos. I've shared some of them. It's appalling and it's disgusting. But this is, if we don't stop this stuff now, what in the world is it going to be 5 years from now? 10?
Oh, wow. Like, slippery slope argument. Like, what are we going to be doing 5 years from now? Like, can you, like, what's the drag shows have been happening for a long time? I think the only thing that's different now is that, like, I think that, honestly, I actually feel like it's probably a fairly normal, like, we could probably come up with some, like, media examples of, like, how many movies were there in the 80s or 90s where there was, like, a comedy bit about, like, a young boy trying on his mom's shoes or his mom's clothes, or trying on, or, like, playing with his mom's makeup and, like, ruining his mom's makeup by trying to put it all over his face and stuff. Like, it's not like it's not like cross-dressing and, like, play and dress up are new concepts. They're just acting like it totally is. Yeah, she belongs in jail because of the January 6th insurrection anyway. Like, well, yeah, true. Like, again, why is she still in office? Even if you weren't, like, going off of my extremely problematic, if you profess that God is your inspiration in all things, you shouldn't hold public office. Like, if, like, a much more reasonable thing to say is she participated in the insurrection and actually asked for a pardon. So I feel like there's no greater admission of guilt than to ask for a pardon. Which maybe that's kind of a fucked up thing for me to say, but I don't know, whatever. Let's see what else she has to say here.
10 years from now. And that's why we have to unapologetically say no. And I think it should be illegal. Children don't belong in strip clubs. Children should not be in drag.
There's no... Oh, she's just equipped... No, hold on.
Illegal. Children don't belong in strip clubs. Children should not be in drag queen shows, period. And
she's just equivocating strip clubs and drag queens. No. This is the thing. Drag is not a strip show. It's not burlesque. Is that the conflation that these people are making? Is they think that burlesque is the intermediary between drag and stripping. But drag actually involves like putting on extra clothes. Like men tend to have like boxy frames. So if a man is a drag queen, he needs to wear a bunch of padding on his hips and in his breasts. And like when you tuck the dick, you got to like tape it down. Like it's not comfortable and people are not stripping. Like that's almost antithetical to the point of drag. They put on a bunch of clothes and then kind of like dance and dress up. It's really infuriating that this conflation is being made. Like, if you're a drag queen, you're inherently a sex worker.
Drag queens do not belong in schools. They should never be there. Neither should strippers. Schools should just be for kids.
Okay,
learning,
again, they're both the same thing, I guess.
History, math, science, English, normal stuff, and a place where they're protected.
You better be careful. It's a pretty...
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. So, and a place where they're protected in schools. But don't worry at all about the fucking school shootings that are rampantly happening constantly. Don't worry about it at all.
Controversial thing to say.
I know. How did we get here?
I don't know,
How
but
is
I
this
want to go back.
controversial? Me
Yeah,
too.
I want to go back.
Well, if you find the
Okay,
time
whatever.
machine, let me know. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of us that would love to go back.
I don't
too.
want you to ham it up.
One
Just
more
get to the
question
point.
for
Thank
the
you.
Final one is, do you think we'll see accountability for the way that the January 6th committee, which is completely illegitimate, we've seen time and time again, they lie, they create...
Though she just got so nervous. Look at her change in demeanor here. She's all smiley and amiable. Just watch her body change here.
I think we'll see accountability for the way that the January 6th committee, which is completely illegitimate, we've seen time and time again, they lie, they create false narratives. I mean,
That's the one thing about humans is like it's really difficult for you to completely control all of your body language reactions. Like she was very much like, oh, I'm fucked. Like, yeah. I don't know if this guy is trying to pin her down though, or if he actually agrees with her, but her demeanor changed dramatically.
To me, I witnessed one of the highest profile shootings in America, yet they will not have a conversation with me about it. Do you think there will be accountability? And if so, how and when?
There better be accountability. Yeah, there better be. Yes, I think there will be accountability, and it needs to be severe.
So they're saying like she's talking about quote accountability for the January 6th committee investigating this stuff. Like, what accountability are they talking about? I don't get it. I've watched some of the footage from the hearings that they're having, and they're saying that like the committee itself lacks legitimacy, I guess, in some process by which they're doing discovery or something. I don't know. You just kind of have to claim the political delegitimacy of your opponents when you're facing like actual jail time for treason, basically. I would probably be scared too if I was potentially about to be in trouble for treason.
Should never be allowed to happen, and they're abusing their congressional powers. They're abusing committee powers, and this is political.
Gotta be vague. Don't say what they're doing specifically. Just say that they're abusing powers generally.
Persecution, and there's people that don't even have a voice. I mean, think about it. There's people in jail.
Oh my God, there's people who don't even have a voice.
Right now, no one hears from them. No one sees them. Their own family doesn't see them. There's children
who are you talking
who haven't
about?
Seen their dads for over 18 months. There's
talking about people who are in jail. Like, do jails not get visitation, or is it like the people who got arrested about January 6th specifically, like, don't get to see their families or something? She's in league with Trump. Yeah. No, I think this interviewer is trying to set her up to defend herself from January 6th allegations.
There's marriages that have been broken apart. People have lost their jobs.
Oh wow, imagine having consequences for your actions. So sad.
People have committed suicide. The third one happened this
Oh, actually, I thought that it was one of the police officers. Like, she's about to say something about someone committing suicide.
week.
Actually, I believe that, was it 2 or 3 officers who were protecting the Capitol who died? One of them was actually injured, and one of them died by suicide, I think. I'm not 100% sure about that though, but I think if you are a person who stormed the Capitol with the intention of disrupting the legitimate election and attempting to potentially endanger elected officials, I am not necessarily a person who thinks the state is a good thing, but given the parameters, then yeah, no, you should be in jail. Your life should be functionally over for at least a couple years. Why is this controversial? Well, it's controversial. The only reason why is because she's trying to protect herself. She's trying to protect herself.
It's awful. Yes, there needs to be accountability.
So then could you just give us a word for the Next News viewers? They absolutely love you.
Oh, well.
No, I don't want to hear any more of your words. Okay. So just to call attention to that, to bring attention to that, just explicitly says, I'm a Christian and I'm a nationalist, and we should be a Christian nationalist country. Terrifying. Not a good thing, by the way. Nationalism is a policy that typically involves controlling immigration, controlling your own population internally, controlling racial demographics, capitalistic control. Nationalism there's basically no way to do nationalism that doesn't also include fascism. Eugenics and genocide, forcible sterilization of people of color, and refusing to sterilize white women because you want white women to keep having more babies. It's a deliberate, multifaceted ploy. And nationalism also usually, basically the reason why it ends up so racial is because it tends to be oh, well, don't the Jews deserve their own country? Haven't the Jews been through enough? That's the argument for Israel. Oh, haven't Jews been through enough? They deserve a nation for their people. And it's well, sure, yeah, but the Pakistani people were there first. Or no, Palestinian. Sorry, not Pakistani. The Palestinian people were there first. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into a whole fucking Israel-Palestine thing here, but TLDR, Israel is doing a genocide and also displaced a bunch of people and families and continued to destroy multi-generational homes and kill children in pursuit of don't the Jews deserve a homeland of their own? It's there's pretty much no non-fucked up way to do nationalism. TLDR. Too long didn't read. No unfucked up way to do nationalism. And there's definitely no unfucked up way to do Christian nationalism, because then you're also saying that to be an American is to be Christian and to follow all these specific rules, even though fucking Christians can't even agree on what fucking rules to follow. So I am a non-Christian, I'm trans, and I'm queer. So that's 3 points against me at least. I probably have all kinds of other unchristian beliefs. I mean, I think my beliefs are probably more fundamentally in line with that of the teachings of Christ than Marjorie Taylor Greene's, but I don't buy into the whole system. So yeah, according to her, I am a degenerate who needs to be killed. I have publicly said you should start hormones and just try it out if you feel like you want to know what that's like for a month and it won't hurt you. And I'm not going to back off of that position. So I am, if lists start to get drawn up, I'm most certainly on them, which is why I want to move. All right. Done with this segment. Done with Marjorie Taylor Greene for today. I don't want to look at her anymore. Apparently they don't care about freedom and people living a good life. They want people to live their way regardless of how they feel. Yeah, no, that's pretty much exactly what it is. Yeah, since when does this bitch care about people killing themselves? Never bothered her before when it came to queer people. Do you think religion should be a choice, not forced? Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the whole fucking point. I, as an atheist, want to have the freedom from your religion. I don't want to think about your religion. If you want to talk about it, and we end up in a discussion about it, fine. But I shouldn't have to think about it because it's it's a forced presence on my life, Fear of death is healthy. I'm losing it too. I think acceptance with death is a good way to think about it, you know. But I'm 28 and that's too young. Fuck it, no. What about freedom of other faiths, even other Abrahamic faiths? Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, as a Christian nationalist, she probably believes that Jews shouldn't be there. And yeah, Mersh shares this article that perhaps I've seen indications of this story. A Republican top ally says Jews aren't welcome in the conservative movement. This is an explicitly Christian country. A top ally for the Republican Party's nominee for Pennsylvania's governor has now explicitly said that Jews should not be welcome into the American conservative movement unless they convert to Christianity. So, yeah. Hey, thank you, Soy Boy. I appreciate that. It's really dumb of Calvin to have boosted that particular video to his audience. Like, that you can try hormones and see how it works and then quit and it's not going to hurt you. Like, in his attempt to challenge my rhetoric, he ended up exposing my video to a much broader audience. What a fucking idiot. As a Jew of color, Christian Zionists are so scary and they really are out here. Yeah, they really be out here. Oh my god, true, Crestfallen. Don't the Jews deserve their own nation far away from us, where we won't ever see them again, in a place that happens to be where they need to return for the rapture to begin? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, both of you, and Be Good Now as well in the YouTube chat. That's where they want them because the rapture will happen when the Jews are all in Israel. Oh, good grief. Hell is where my house is. Hopefully they have that Josh Shapiro guy win PA Gov. Mastriano is a hardcore Trumper. Yeah, when we are still working on, I don't know if you all were here. If you weren't here last time, this will be the first time you're hearing it, or maybe you heard from Vosh's channel as well. A bunch of trans creators and a bunch of other like trans supportive creators are going to like politically band together and try to like make a political difference. And we're going to pick one political battle and like stick to it and really pay attention to that one political battle. And it's kind of looking like we're probably going to end up choosing Mastriano as like that's the election that we're going to focus in our attention on. It kind of seems that way, at least. Thinking about how I laughed at Demon Mama dunking on Calvin Guerra and Calvin Guerra liked the reply, I think he might have a humiliation kink. Maybe. I can't really imagine why else he does the things that he does. Yeah, do I mean Palestine? True. He hates trans people. Maybe that's part of it, the shame involved. I really think that the ContraPoints video shame was really... Or no, it was cringe. It was cringe because Natalie talks about how she cringes at these, mannish trans women who are like, isn't it clear that I'm a woman? And getting all pissed off. She's like, I find this cringe and I find all the lesbian catgirl nya shit cringe. And then she points out that like maybe that's why Calvin is so vehement about going after fellow trans mask creators, because he sees the cringe within being externalized. Does Calvin want a mommydom? Does he want a mommydom? Maybe it would help him. Reject cringe. Just accept that you are cringe. Natalie is the best character. Oh, reject cringe culture. Embrace cringe, actually. Yes, true. Embrace the cringe. Last year, Calvin, quote, apologized about what he did, but this year in a video, he talked about the people that made videos about him. Sorry, camera, come on. Including me, and all he did was laugh and mock them and you. I didn't know that he had made yet. Stop, you fucking cunt piece of shit asshole. Why are you like this? Can you stop? Jesus fucking Christ. Any day now. Thank you. Jesus. It's irritating. Anyway, oh, so yeah, I didn't know that Calvin talked about me again. Like, I'm sure that I can see how he could find something to make fun of in the video, because like I talked about him, I was like, his fans swarming my video has like made me less likely to talk about certain aspects of my transition publicly. So I'm sure that he made fun of me for that. I'm almost positive, and I'm sure that he would make fun of my voice and stuff. He's definitely not reformed. I got over my fear of being cringe by developing an extreme sense of confidence to compensate, and I'm finally doing stuff I've always wanted to, but avoided out of feeling a need to preserve social status. Yeah, embrace cringe. Just be as cringe as you want. I used to watch Calvin Guerra a while ago, then I found out about his shit and I actually watched his vid on you. He was one of the first trans people I found, which sucks. I hope that you weren't too negatively affected by it. One of my least favorite things about Calvin Guerra is how many trans people's transitions he set back by like years, in some cases, literal years. Like if Calvin Guerra's content hadn't been around, Mo, you know, Cops Hate Mo, might have been able to get top surgery like several years earlier, but now is being denied public transition on the New Zealand Health Service, and so they have to like raise up a bunch of money and do it privately. Working with middle schoolers has made me less afraid of being cringe. I do still self-cringe a lot, but so much less. Oh, if Blair White was your first trans creator. Oh, it's good that you were able to recognize how full of shit she was fairly early on. The main trans person that I used to watch was Chase Ross. Are any of you familiar with Chase Ross? I'm sure I've spoken about him on stream before. Chase used to do like, I mean, I'm sure he still does. The reason why I think maybe the reason why I found him was that I was looking for prosthetics. And Chase he like styles himself as a sex educator, where he'll buy, or sometimes the company will send him a toy, like a transgender prosthetic toy. Like, oh, this packer also is one that you can pee out of. Or this packer is one that you can pee out of and have sex with, and stuff like that. And so he'll like try the products and then tell you how it works. And I really liked his content, and it made me feel really normal. And then I found out that he was being super interpersonally abusive to his supposed best friend, Aaron Ann Sweeney. They had a podcast together called You're So Brave. And it sucked. I was like, oh, I like have looked up to this person and he's made me feel normal. And now I'm like, oh, it's clear that he's been super abusive toward his best friend, though. My first video of Blair White's that I watched was one where she called Cat Black the T-slur. Oh, why? What? That's so fucked up. Especially because Cat Black has been out for much longer than Blair. Like, Cat Black is a veteran. Felix says, it's sad to say Calvin was the first trans person I found on YouTube, and it caused me to be one of those toxic trans med people for a few years until I found more and better trans YouTubers that helped me open my mind and be a better person. I'm proud of you for making it so far in your journey. Cat Black hates being trans? Really? You think she's self-loathing? I think she just wants to pretend that she's not. I think would be a fair thing to say. Oh, Blair White. Okay, I was like, why are you talking about Cat Black? Blair White hates being trans and is self-loathing. I think that's probably more fair. Yeah, Riley J. Dennis, Speedy Shimeji, does she not still make content? The last I checked, she was making like Avatar-related content. But I loved Riley J. Dennis. I followed her when she was still going by her dead name. Oh yeah, she hasn't posted a video since 10 months ago. That's sad. I really liked Riley J. Dennis. I can understand why she dipped though, because it was really a toxic environment for her. The fact that there was so much content shitting on Riley J. Dennis, and it used to get recommended to me constantly. It would always just be like, hey, do you want to watch this person who is like clearly raging at Riley J. Dennis? And I was like, no, don't ever show me content like this. And that's when I decided I was never going to watch reaction content to my own videos. That's why to this day, I've never seen the Calvin Guerra video about me. Like, a friend of mine offered to watch it and then tell me what it was about, because I was like, I'm not going to watch it. So, yeah, I think to this day, I've not watched any of Calvin's videos about mine, I think. I hope she's doing well now. Yeah, she moved to Australia to be with her girlfriend, and I hope that they're doing so good. I get recommended what looks like hate content about you. I want to it's funny because I'm curious. I'm like, I want to know if there is hate content about me and like be able to choose whether or not to engage with it, you know? That makes me really curious. Riley J. Dennis being the target of so much senseless harassment is like legitimately why I grew so disillusioned with political commentators and adjacent channels over the years. It's so sad what happened to her. Decoy Duck, Essence of, and Calvin are the only ones I know of. Okay, yeah, I'm aware of Essence of Thought's video about me. I don't think I watched it either. You haven't missed anything. He's just a miserable little man being a jackass in the video. Okay, yeah, no, I know about Essence of Thought. Because the thing is that she didn't just make a video about me, she also tried to cut me off from all of the community that I was attempting to build on Twitter. And managed to succeed in one case. Corvidae and I used to be like friendly and we used to get on. And then Corvidae decided to no longer be friends with me or like the other trans guys, trans masculine NBs that we were kind of in a group chat because of my relation to Xander Hall, basically. I didn't click on it, seems dumb. Yeah. Not a trans creator, but oof, I used to watch Lacey Green and even ran into her at a party in Philadelphia and met her at an LGBT center in LA before she went awful. Yo, I used to watch Lacey Green. Like, I thought, like, I loved her videos on, like, BDSM because she made content about, like, consent and shit like that. Like, it was valuable education at the time. She just, like, really, she started dating Chris Reagan, I think was what the problem was. Not gonna lie, I'm having, like, minor panic responses to just hearing that first name and letter. It's not even the right letter, though. Sorry. This person bad because reasons. Yeah, what was it? Essence of Thought was like Luxander is hiding behind their soft boy aesthetic, and I was like, I literally said that I have distanced myself from you because you seem like someone who's gonna trigger my PTSD. Good night, Timerinia. Hope the rest of the stream is nice. True. Yeah, there's no need to talk about old dramas, you know? No one is currently trying to bother me. So I guess there's no recent content. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, Timerinia. I guess there's no recent content to be curious about with regards to our people talking about me. I really do think that Essence of Thought likes to pick pointless fights on the internet. It's like, choose fewer battles. And she's like, no, I'm going to pick up 3 more, actually. The annoying thing is that a lot of the time she's right, and I want to agree with her, but I think her tactics are fucked up. So, like, it's possible for me to be politically aligned with... So here's basically the reason why I'm not an SJW anymore. I am politically aligned with SJWs, but I am opposed to their tactics. So I don't want to be affiliated with them because I think their tactics are bad. Is it black-pilled Quarbarian or would you call it red-pilled? I think Lacey Green was red pilled. What tactics do you think are bad? The fact that SJW communities tend to like forcibly excommunicate people because of their lack of purity, you know? Like, for example, I already talked about this a few weeks ago on stream. One time I wrote for a website called Teen Skeptic, and also sometimes had my work cross-posted onto the main website, Skeptic. And one of our authors at one point insulted someone by saying, like, I can't, what did she say? She said, like, she was basically like, I'm surprised that you have enough brain power to, like, breathe without assistance, which the SJWs in our audience, because that's what it was at the time. It was like when atheism split between like people who want to sexually harass women and people who don't want that to happen. The people who don't want women to get sexually harassed, that was like the feminists and the SJWs and the whatever. So yeah, people got like extremely pissed off about the ableism, and then like cutting people out of community and like dropping people entirely. Yeah, the purity testing, I guess, is like a good concise way to put it and everything. Yeah, Lux said nanners and never recovered from the cancellation. I've basically at this point just tried to be as honest as I can, and like, if you don't want to be around me because I like Vosh, then fuck it. I kind of don't want you around if you're the kind of person who will like not want to watch someone's content because they're affiliated with someone else you don't like. Like, I don't know. Jimsy says, all my friends are SJWs. People have been trying to reclaim the term, actually. No, listen, Jimsy. Listen. When the term SJW was invented, we, the people who it was targeting, immediately claimed it. Like, I self-identified as an SJW, and we would make our fun game. We would be like, oh, I'm a social justice rogue. Like, oh, I'm a social justice mage. 10 years ago. Or roughly 10 years ago. It was a fucking while. So, like, as soon as they came up with the term SJW, we were like, why would you call that an insult? But at this point, it's more like just the tendency to purity test and police, and a lot of these social standards are actually pretty ableist, ironically. Yeah, the new word is woke scold, which I actually kind of like the word woke scold more than SJW, because I think woke scold is a more accurate description of behavior. Like, woke scold, a person who is more woke than you and is scolding you for being less woke than them. I don't jibe with Vosh, but that doesn't mean I'm going to drop the creators I like who associate with him. Being reasonable. Yeah, not being like, I will not be affiliated with anything to do with Vosh. Like, if Vosh or any of his community members are present, I will not be present. I'm like, okay. I'm a social justice whore. Best kind of SJW. True. Yeah, exactly, Kimberwolf. Behave perfectly neurotypical and never offend anyone, or else. But it was also like really inconsistent. I was really irritated by how I felt like I couldn't say certain things, but then other people who were also in the same circles of SJW stuff would like say something really fucked up, and people would get all up in arms about it. But then it's like, oh, you know, she was just on Ambien that night and like hadn't gone to bed yet, and that's why she tweeted that. And like, this person is exempt from the complete utter fucking obliteration of your social support network. I've never fully recovered from this, by the way. Like, I made my support network, I started off in the atheist community. That's where I was. And then like it split in this big chasm between feminists and people who want to sexually harass women. And I was obviously with the feminists, and those people were on board with my pronouns, as the people who want to sexually assault women side also gradually became the let's make fun of your pronouns side. But then once I realized that the excommunication tactics in the SJW community were constantly triggering my fear of abandonment, I left that community, and I have not recovered since then socially. Like, which is part of why I don't burn bridges like other creators do. I don't go like, oh, Vosh had this anti-kink at Pride Take last year, and I don't want to even look at what he said when he updated his opinion later. You know, like, I don't do that because it would, like, I really hate the idea of that happening to me, and I want to be around people who are imperfect, because it's only the people who claim to be perfect who are going to, like, fuck you over. Crab bucket mentality, true. I try to consider the utility of terms like this for the right versus their utility for me and my allies. I feel like SJW and woke scold both just hold much more utility for the right. I guess I just don't, like, it's hard for me to be in this position because I am, like, politically aligned with SJWs and woke scolds for the most part, but also, like, I fucking hate those people. And I want people to know that isn't like here's my problem. I used to watch The Atheist Experience. It's a show that's been going for like 20 years. You know, Matt Dillahunty, The Atheist Experience. It's a live call-in show where they're atheists and they take callers that are mostly Christians, right? For a while, they had this other show called Talk Heathen. And there were 2 regular hosts on Talk Heathen, and then they would sometimes have like a different co-host, same as they do on The Atheist Experience. And one time, this person called EJ was on Talk Heathen as one of the co-hosts. And EJ was like, my pronouns are they, them, and I am a space student. Like, the main thing that they were there, like, the reason that their expertise was there was that they were in a program studying, like, rocket science shit. And I think maybe that they were doing a double major, and the other major that they had was gender studies. But this person who was primarily there to talk about atheism and primarily there to talk about aerospace engineering was, like, attacked by the community and had a bunch of callers call in about their fucking pronouns, and people were calling them an SJW. EJ was not politically involved like that before this incident. It was being called an SJW by a bunch of fucking assholes that turned EJ into an SJW. Like, it pisses me off that me saying I'm non-binary means automatically, like, oh, you fucking SJW. Like, no. I feel motivated at this point to, like, draw a distinction because I don't think that's fair, you know? Yeah, you made it political. The Atheist Experience is buying the new Cosmos on Blu-ray and only watching half the episodes. Yeah, fair enough. Our existence is political. Yeah. I really just dislike the idea that because I'm non-binary, all of these other connotations around SJW, like you're shrill, you're in your face about all this shit, when, like, no, like, I came from the skeptic community, actually. So I am more likely to be like, oh, you said something that I haven't heard before. I need to think about that or research it further now, you know? And like, I am not the kind of person who's going to excommunicate you from my community because I heard something bad about you one time, you know? The YouTuber The Offensive Tranny once said, women who claim to be non-binary, why can't you just be a masculine woman? This is weird coming from a trans man. It's like someone saying, women who claim to be trans men, why can't you just be a masculine woman? It's exactly the same shit, yeah. It's like these binary trans people don't understand that being non-binary is basically the same as being binary trans. We just don't have, like, a clear objective for the end of our transition. Yeah, Zirzix agreeing and saying people assume before they even genuinely talk with each other. So that's kind of like the reason why I find it, like, why I want to distance myself from the SJW types, and I don't have a better word for it. Yeah, wait, transitions end? I know some people are like, I'm done. Non-binary can mean different things. I'm intersex and consider myself non-binary. Yeah. My dad asked me what's up, Hellhound? My dad asked me what SJW means one day because his QAnon coworker used it. I explained it was supposed to be derogatory, and my dad was very confused. Jimsy says, siding with anti-Vosh backlash almost made me into a woke scold, especially through Cat Black and Professor Flowers. I just don't know. Yeah, I find it really difficult, having come from the skeptic community originally, and that being like the foundation for how I approach these things. It just makes it difficult to talk to normal people, and especially talking to people politically. We have been consistently hitting, like, we're like right around 50 concurrent viewers for the last while. So thank you for that. Holy shit. Hit like if you haven't hit like yet. Consider pitching me $1 on Patreon, because that's like just $12 a year. And I can budget around it. Holy shit. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I'm going to need to take a quick whiz. Oh my gosh. I was like, is there something I want you to do while I'm gone? No, I don't think there's anything I want you to do while I'm gone. No worries if you can't do a dono. It's fine. It's getting close to rent, and I don't want anybody to give me money if they can't afford it. You know? Don't give me money if you can't afford it. If you're a college student, don't give me your money. Are you fucking kidding me? Anyway, yeah, I'm just going to pee really fast. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I got waylaid. My partner wanted a hug. Took me a moment longer than I was anticipating. No worries, though. Yes, Silent makes an excellent point. If you cannot afford to give me money, you should consider picking a recent video from my channel and just dropping that in all your group chats. If you get a screenshot of you doing that and put it in the homework section, the homework channel in my Discord server, I can give you a distinct, elaborate compliment on stream in front of everybody. I just don't understand burning bridges with people who don't want to hate crime you. I mean, I think the real, like, oh my god, excuse me, the real issue is I don't think any of these people have ever been gay bashed before. And, like, that's kind of a fucked up thing for me to say. like people who have like really sensitive food preferences and people who are really sensitive about who is in their social group as far as like if you're not perfectly on the same page politically. What's up, Raccoon Pope? I'm glad that we ran stream long enough for you to be back. But yeah, I mean, I kind of just get the impression that it's a very sheltered experience. If you convince 4 people to subscribe at level 1, that's equivalent to you being subscribed at level 3. True. But yeah, I generally... Whoa. Mitternacht making noise over there. Oh my god, I thought I was in the middle of saying something and I lost it. It's fine, don't worry about it. Another reason I almost became a woke scold was an extreme personal reaction to my history on /poll and later as a Trumpist when DJT kicked up. I'd avoid anything that sounds remotely similar to the rhetoric I saw from when I was in the right. Yeah, I don't like that you can't like flesh out your opinions about stuff in the SJW community. You know, like if I say like, if I start questioning like, why is this considered cultural appropriation, but this other thing isn't, you know, like whatever, that kind of stuff. I found that I was afraid to even ask the questions, which it should not be the case. You shouldn't feel like you cannot even ask, like, why do all of us just have the same belief that you shouldn't do this? Like, you know, why is this the kind of community where you can even have the question pop up of whether learning a second language is cultural appropriation? Like, have any of you been around the internet for that long? Do you remember that Tumblr post? There was a fucking Tumblr post that went around and was like, like, you shouldn't learn Spanish because it's cultural appropriation. Like, literally. Well, thank you, Penderson. This is why I like you. You don't tell your fans what to think or what to believe, and you don't put people down for their beliefs. You're actually willing to have a conversation. I mean, I do put people down for their beliefs. Just usually not only for their beliefs, usually also their actions, because their actions are driven by their beliefs. A lot of my quality of life is, I think, improved by my never having gotten into Tumblr. I wasn't even on Tumblr. I was on Facebook and kept getting screenshots of conversations about Tumblr. Fellas, is it cultural appropriation to even hear someone speaking another language? True. I meant beliefs that aren't harmful. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's, you know, if I'm being honest, partially motivated by a need to appeal to at least somewhat of a broad audience. So I'm not going to come down hard on groups of people that might be within those social circles of like, oh, this type of person could watch my streams. Gotta watch those follows. You follow enough counts of a certain type and then Twitter is Tumblr, except it still has porn. True. That is the one good thing about Twitter as opposed to Tumblr, is that there is like, sometimes just randomly there's girl dick on the timeline and you're like, oh, okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like fucking 9 a.m., but okay. Raccoon Pope says, I remember people saying on Tumblr that you shouldn't draw POC characters or OCs if you're white. Gridlock, true. The word gridlock is just permanently ruined. No, I agree with you, Jimsy, that learning a second language is more like accommodating English second language speakers. I made a new Tumblr because Twitter is so much more miserable. Twitter is kind of miserable place to be, honestly, but they're trying to force in some TikTok-like elements with the whole videos, just random videos of shit. You should learn about AAVE and how it's a perfectly valid dialect of English, but never use it because that would be cultural appropriation, even though it would be actually useful. Yeah, so here's my thing about African American vernacular English. or Black English. I don't, maybe that might be a more proper way to say it now. Or I guess African American distinguishes, yeah, because like the dialect in the UK is going to be different anyway, and even regionally in the US. But so here's the thing. I grew up in a place where a lot of people around me spoke AAVE, and I was like influenced by those accents. I am a person who absorbs other people's mannerisms and accents and stuff, and I fucking grew up around it. You know who the first person who ever told me, like, you know, just we're acknowledging that the SJWs think that white people shouldn't speak in AAVE or shouldn't use slang from AAVE. You know who the first person who ever told me that was? The first person who ever told me that I shouldn't talk like that was a racist white family member. Told me not to talk like that. So I just find it a little bit sus that, you know, the current progressive SJW opinion is the same opinion as a racist family member who was like, stop talking like that. I used to be the kind of person who, like, when I got drunk would slip into AAVE, and you'll see it happen on, I'm sure that it's happened on stream already, because I've had several streams where I was drinking, like, because I grew up around it. It depends on how it's used. It gets misused by non-black people a lot, so some people would rather default to not using it. I mean, to be fair, like, I think it's kind of cringe when you use the words wrong, you know? Like, if you say yeet as just like a general kind of exclamation, then I think that you're dumb and not using the, like, you don't understand the language. Like, yeet means throw, you know? It only means throw. Learning other languages has been helpful. Yeah, I like learning other languages and stuff. A relative of mine gets mad that people use AAVE because it's, quote, intentionally making themselves sound dumb when really it's not. It's just how people speak. True. Okay, do I have one more news? We've done such a good job of being consistent with like roughly 40 to 50 viewers this time, so it makes me feel like I can take a little bit more time in between the news articles, because sometimes I feel like if I get too distracted and off on a tangent there, then we're gonna lose interest, you know? But I appreciate that you all are here, like, seemingly mainly just to hang out. That's good stuff. I love knowing the etymology of slang. Yeah. People always say, like, oh, these words, like, travel to mainstream white culture because black people talk like this, and then black queer people start to talk like this, and then white queer people assimilate it from the black queer people, and then white people assimilate it from white queer culture. Yeah, no, acknowledging Zirzik in the YouTube chat here. Honestly, I don't know. Racists don't want to hear it, but people don't want their speech appropriated when folks misuse it, because that can go down the slope of people wanting to use slurs they have no right to. Yeah, so I'm definitely not talking about slurs in this instance. But, like, it's more like the accent that you speak with. And, like, I mean, and the terminology as well. But, like, if you're a white person from fucking Oakland, like, how are you supposed to talk? You know, if you're a white person from fucking Kansas City, Kansas, how are you supposed to talk? Like, I had to unlearn that voice and talk more white in order to be respected by other white people, you know? So I don't know. I mean, like, I understand the misusing it part being especially annoying. I just don't know how I feel about the idea that speaking with terms that are AAVE or with an accent that indicates that you are someone who grew up around a lot of black people, you know? I don't know how I feel about that exactly. I worked at a grocery store in Oakland. I started picking up a lot of the vernacular, and it made me so self-conscious. Yep. Honestly, like, it's very weird to me to not have, like, very many black people in my social circles, because I grew up in an area where there were a lot of like Black people, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, Vietnamese people, like anyway, it's about the community you're from, the company you keep. You could be very white, but if you grew up with Black friends and use AAV with them, it's like not really a problem. It's not comparable to like Iggy Azalea, I recall being the subject of controversy over this. Yeah. Oh my God, Mersh, I don't know where this comment is coming from, but my great-grandparents had 14 children and they were wealthy enough that they had servants to help them with the kids. Oh my God. Keep in mind as well, you need to be really careful with saying you have no right to a certain type of speech. Americans hate being told that kind of thing regardless of whether or not they're well-intentioned. Folks, is it cultural appropriation to code switch? Interesting. I would be interested in an analysis of like people being ableist about colonizing others' speech. Not that I'm disbelieving you. I'm just like, I'm struggling to think of an example of how that would go down. Yeah, folks, is it cultural appropriation to code switch? No, but tell that to some of the SJWs that burned bridges with me. For real. God, the SJWs. Anyway, one last news item for the day. And it's a video, and it's Ron DeSantis, and we're going to get mad. And then we'll probably go back to just chilling for a little bit before I decide that I'm hungry. I mentioned my ability to code switch in the interview for my new better position I got. I've noticed that like when I try to code switch, like it's usually from internet speak to like talking to my partner speak, and like it feels like gears are just grinding. Like it's not a smooth, fluid thing for me. I guess I don't code switch that easily out of my internet dialect. Anyway, let's see. We're gonna talk about Ron DeSantis and get angry at him. Oh, I definitely need water before I do this. Hold on, because this might be a segment. I just gotta get water. My kitchen is so clean, y'all. I've done so much work on cleaning my kitchen the last couple days. My kitchen is so clean. My brother worships DeSantis. Oh, that's not good. Oh my God. So, Vosh saying the N-word. The one time he did the debate and said it in the debate, it was because like the person he was debating had said the N-word a couple times earlier, but then they switched to saying the N-word. And Vosh was like, oh, do you mean to say the actual N-word? And he did it like, he says that he did it to like show them that he was not like a weak political opponent or something like that. Water is so important. It's like policing how people say things / don't sound intelligent enough tends to be rooted in ableist, racist, some kind of oppressive and otherizing rhetoric. Well, yeah, like part of what I'm saying is that like I had pressures in my life related to like not talking like a black person, basically, because those same pressures were applying to me, that I didn't sound intelligent enough, or that like, yeah, that it was improper speech or something. Yeah, no, I wasn't I was just clarifying for everybody else, Baphomet. You're all good. Because I saw someone be like, what? Vosh said the N-word? Like, what? So I just wanted to give a brief overview. All right. let's make sure the volume is good on this. How is the volume?
What you said, but
Okay, the volume's fine on that. That's gonna be good. Ready to be annoyed? I'm kind of like scared that Governor Ron DeSantis from Florida, Republican from Florida, is going to try to run for president. It might be kind of tough because I'm sure that Trump plans on running again as well. But it just seems to me like we hear a lot about Ron DeSantis. He's really doing a lot to put his name out in the fore here. So I keep hearing about him, and I think he's terrible and anti-queer and very bad for our community. And it keeps just getting worser. Yeah, our best chance is Trump and DeSantis murdering each other. I fucking hope so. Or like splitting the vote enough that like, yeah, I don't know. We have a video where he is claiming that elementary school workers are, quote, instructed to tell kids to switch genders. And so let's look at what his foolishness is here and get angry at him. There is CC on this video. Hold on. Pause. I want to make you bigger. Big. All right. Here we go.
this will be for elementary school kids where they're instructed to tell them, well, you may have been born a boy, that may have been what you said, but maybe you're really a girl. That's wrong. That has no place in school. So that is...
So yeah, he starts off saying like teachers are instructed to teach kids this, like that's part of the curriculum or whatever, which I highly doubt, especially in Florida of all places.
Happening in our country. Anyone that tells you it's not happening is lying to you. So
I think the person who is lying is you currently. Like, congratulations on that. Oh, good night, Baphomet. Good night.
So I think what we did in Florida was very important to lay down a marker.
I think he's talking about the Don't Say Gay bill. He's like, we did the Don't Say Gay bill for like a good reason.
To make sure that that's not something that gained a foothold here in the state of Florida, and that again, our kids are able to be kids.
Okay, see, that's the part, that's like the reason why I wanted to talk about this video at all.
And that again, our kids are able to be kids.
So the thing that pisses me off about this so much is that once again, we're like, let's protect little like presumed cishet kids. Like we're just gonna assume that all kids are cishet until they get exposed to queerness. Like we want them to stay kids for longer. Like, but apparently fuck all of the trans people who feel pretty strongly that they were robbed of an opportunity to have a healthy childhood, like to have a childhood as themselves even. And then you all like you tell trans men that they have Peter Pan syndrome, and you accuse trans women of being like creepy for trying to look like teenagers or whatever. It's like, because this is an entire demographic of people who have been denied the opportunity to have an adolescence as themselves. And it just infuriates me that that's the last thing on these people's minds, that like, oh, we just want to let our kids be kids, you know, all this stuff is too adult and too confusing. Like, no, what's confusing is growing up and knowing that you're different and knowing that you're weird and having the kids on the playground call you a faggot and just dealing with that until you're 20 and in college and you meet your first trans person, and then your entire retroactive life makes sense to you. Like, I just don't, like, I wish that I could make this point to one of these politicians' faces. I wish that I could bring them to heel and make them say, fuck trans kids. I don't care about trans kids. Like, but the thing is that, like, it's impossible to have this discussion, because ultimately at the end of the day, they're going to say, there is no such thing as a trans kid. But then I'm going to be like, well, who was I when I was 14? Like, I was a minor child who knew that they were trans, but apparently I didn't exist. And the people I know who like attempted to mutilate themselves as children apparently weren't real either. Like, they just spontaneously became trans the day that they turned 18. So fuck Ron DeSantis and everything he stands for, and the horse he rode in on. Yeah, he's straight up lying. I'm pretty sure he's just straight up lying in this one. I don't really think that there's anything defensible about this dude. Just everything he says and does is terrible. I gotta get out of this fucking country. Every time I have a terms of service thought, I'm like, I gotta get out of this country. Like, what was it? I saw one of those, the like fork in the road memes that was like, become a domestic terrorist or leave the country. And like, I don't want to say I vibed with it, but more like Mickey Mouse choking on the cheese in Florida. It's definitely not the happiest place in the world. No, God. What a Weasley little liar, dude. True, Decoy Duck. To them, anything not cis is an agenda. They can't see being trans as a lifestyle, only a sexual and political position. I mean, it's not that it's... I mean, the fact is that they think that it is a lifestyle choice, and that's the problem. They think it's a deviant lifestyle choice. When you wish to begin posting federally. True. Let's go buy an island. Oh my God, let's not do that. Oh, that sounds like a lot of work. It never ceases to amaze me how these Christians can lie with such ease in their statements. I honestly, it's the purpose is power. You know, if you've read 1984, you'll know that the driving purpose behind all of this is power for the sake of power. Republic of Lux, Sealand, Part 2. Oh, gosh. Do I get to be a cult leader? Is that what we're doing right now? If we go and buy an island, does that automatically make me a cult leader? That would be fun. Could be fun. I mean, I was already kind of a member of a cult. You notice my Unis Honest hoodie here? Technically, we certainly acted like a cult with Unis Honest. Last year at the Renaissance Festival, if I saw someone wearing an Unis Honest shirt or something, like, I would basically just start chanting at them as I passed them in the lane, like, Unis Honest, and try to get them to, like, do it with me. And just, Unis Honest, you know. Walked away and come back at a weird point. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Only if we host Eldritch orgies at least once a week or so, then I can be a cult leader. Okay. They ignore that people exist for their narrative, or they ignore that certain people exist for their narrative. They pretend that trans people have existed, that haven't existed. Yeah, I know. I still want to stay. This place is my home and I want to see it made right. Still doesn't stop me from looking at potential places to seek asylum. I've just, like, since I was a child, I've been like, I don't want to be here. Like, I think that might be part of why I've never made, like, a local group of friends. Like, even when I was like, oh yeah, I had all those friends back in the SJW days, those people all lived in Minnesota or Chicago, and I live in Kansas. I've never had a real, like, permanent sense of community here, because I think that some part of me has always been like, at the very minimum, like, I'm gonna move to the Pacific Northwest because I've always wanted to do that. Like, but now it's like maybe something in me has always known that I was gonna have to leave America. I don't know. Looking at Ireland and New Zealand instead of Canada. I just want to not have to sell my car yet. It makes me feel secure that I have a car, because if that means that, like, if worst case scenario, like, everybody I know dies or something, then I have a place to sleep, you know? Mark would be a great cult leader. Honestly, dude's got the charisma. I would be in a cult that Mark did, yeah. Yeah, the Christian nationalists would like to make the whole country a cult. True. There's a Ren Fair that's happening for the first time an hour away from me, and I'm still going to be too broke in August. If it's the first time that Ren Fair is going to be running, NBJ, I would say it's probably good that you're not going, because the ones that are like only one weekend, or it's the very first time they're doing it, they tend to just be like a bunch of tents and gazebo things in a field where there's no trees. Whereas the Renaissance Festival that I go to has been going for long enough that there are buildings for the most part. Like, most of it is actual buildings that you go into for the booths. They're not like air conditioned or sealed or anything. But there's a bunch of trees everywhere. I don't like those festivals that are like, it's a Renaissance Festival, but actually it's just a bunch of fucking like tents. And there is a part of the Renaissance festival that I go to where it is just a place where people can come for one weekend and pitch their... What are these things called? I can never... It's not a tent. Is it a gazebo? Like, if you go to like a parade and along the side of the parade, there's like... They'll have like 4 stakes and then the tent top, a pavilion, like a collapsible, and then you can pop it up, and then usually people will put like a table in there, and so they'll be underneath the roof of it, and it's open on all sides, or maybe they'll have a flap in the back that's down, and then they interface with you up like through the table in the front. Pop-up shades. I have never been able to figure out what the fuck these things are called. I hear Ireland has a great program for artists to fund artists to move to the country. Probably my only chance to leave the country without arranging a common law relationship or getting a job. Yeah, I had never heard of that. I want to go to Ren fairs and cons, but I can't spare any money to go. Here's the thing. I work at my Renaissance Festival, which is why I don't pay to get in. Although it is expensive if you want to eat lunch there. You gotta bring your own food, which I don't think you're allowed to as a patron, which is fucking stupid. Yeah, I always work there. I'm going to be just giving people breaks. So I'm only going to work part of the day, and then I'll run around the rest of the day and try not to get heat sickness. If you start a business, you can move to the Netherlands. Canada as well. If you start a business in Canada, it makes it easier for you to immigrate there. But Netherlands is good to know. I just don't want to live in a place that's so white. I genuinely don't want to live in a country that's like 90% white. That sounds fucking miserable. I'm anti-white. You'll know because we talk about doing a Mayo side in the chat. Portable awnings? Okay, that's not a bad word for it. A portable awning. Why do I think gazebo? Why is gazebo the thing that pops into my head every fucking time? Man, I'm really chuffed that there's so many of you who have been hanging out tonight. I'm real chuffed. It's a sort of portable gazebo. Yeah, that's kind of how I was thinking about it. Sam says, my family came here as refugees and were able to escape some shit and rebuild something better here, so I really do appreciate certain types of patriotism. At the same time, I know it can be snatched away. Yeah, I don't think that America is a country that deserves any reverence or anything like that. But I mean, yeah, like I wish that I could love America in that way and be like, yeah, this is a land of opportunity. Like immigrants came here for hope. Like the American Tail movies, you know, like I watched those when I was a little kid, like American Tail and then American Tail 5 Goes West, where it's like Jewish refugees from Romania or wherever they're from. Yeah, the song There Are No Cats in America, like it's a hopeful thing, you know? I wish that we could just be that and be happy doing that. No, yeah, you're it's fine, NBJ. Honestly, like I always am kind of weird about like saying which Ren Fair it is, but like if you know which days the Ren Fair runs, it's gonna be pretty fucking obvious when I'm like, I'm no longer gonna be streaming on Sundays from this time, like from this week to this week. It's like good fucking luck trying to find me though, because I run around all day. I'm probably gonna wear a mask all day too. And I wear clothes that you've never seen on stream. So when you say gazebo, my brain goes baba ganoush. What is baba ganoush? I've heard that word a lot before, but I don't remember what it actually is. In Canada, you need someone to sponsor you for up to 10 years. You don't need someone to sponsor you if you like are going. I mean, like sponsorship is only one of the ways to immigrate, I thought. Like, for example, if my partner and I move to Washington and then my partner happens to get a really high-paying job in his field in Abbotsford, Canada, then if he gets a job offer, then that will, like, facilitate the immigration process. And you could just be a temporary resident working that job on a work visa, and then after 3 years of being a temporary resident, you can apply to be a permanent resident. Oh, no, you're not wrong about that, though, Jimsy. Like, I'd be afraid to move to Canada because of the far right gaining traction. It's kind of like America Light up there in Canada, so I would concur with that. I think that's another reason why I'm like, maybe Europe someday. Maybe a nice, like, progressive country in Europe eventually. Not really anywhere is safe from the far right. Yeah, it's just all about, like, where are you going to get healthcare ultimately? I would love to get a dentist appointment. That would be fucking lit. Imagine being able to go to the dentist. Yeah, in Europe, I'm seeing a lot of increasingly far-right fascist uprisings and shit. Like, obviously, I cannot move to anywhere in Britain because that's Turf Island. And if I ever wanted to get back on testosterone, they would probably be like, nope. Here's a 5-year waiting list that we'll put you on. But I guess the idea is, like, I want to be in a country that, like, when other countries reach their breaking point and start getting away from the alt-right shit, that I will have been in a place that was only in the middle on its way to alt-right and then immediately becomes more progressive again. Germany even has one little neo-Nazi town in Mecklenburg. I had not heard that. I keep seeing photos too of like Ukrainian soldiers and it's like, oh, you should be careful sharing pictures of those Ukrainian soldiers because they have like a Nazi symbol on their coat. And it's like, well, I mean, yeah, they're kind of like close to that area. I wouldn't be surprised if there were still some sympathizers. The whole world, North and South America sphere. Oh, sorry, the whole North and South America sphere is fucked. But colonization has reached a lot of places. Honestly, the fucking Brits and their colonization and ruining fucking everything. Imagine them, like, actually giving up any of the shit that's in their museums and being like, we're actually legitimately sorry. But no, we still live in a world where Prince William, is that his name? The young one? Like, the one who's gonna be king? Like, him and his wife, Kate, I want to say Kate, like, they go to a country full of, like, black people, and the black people are, like, carrying them on their little throne tables. And they're like, that's the world that we still live in. Kate Middleton, that's her name. They used to say that the sun never sets on the British Empire because they have colonies everywhere. Yeah, I mean, that's like a fucking badass thing to say. The sun never sets on the British Empire. Like, listen, that's a powerful ass thing to say, but you should be careful to share pics of Ukrainian soldiers because it might dox them to Russian command. Yeah, you got to be careful about their locations and stuff. I just got here, so maybe you already talked about it, but can I ask if you think it's safe to get a passport with an X gender marker? Mechanical Scarecrow, I am actually in the process myself of applying for a passport. And my view on this is that I want my passport to be accurate. Like, I don't want it to say either F or M. I don't think either of those is honest. And I wasn't going to travel to a country where it wouldn't have been okay for me to have an X on my passport anyway. I can't imagine traveling to a place where that in itself would be like a problem, you know? So I'm like, if anything, I want the X on my gender marker because I want it to be immediately clear to the people in the country that I'm going to that I am a person who needs additional protection. Cunning Jew that I be, I seek to cleverly flee to Europe where no harm has ever come to our people. Absolutely oblivious. True. Caleb, you said you've never read 1984. You can blast through it in like a day. If you're trying, you can get through 1984 in like a day. I think that it sucked. I think it was a well-written book. I mean, there's like a rapey undertone to it, which is kind of fucking weird. But mostly it just really bummed me out. But that's the point. It's supposed to bum you out and teach you something. So try to read it, I suggest. If anything, so that you can correct dumbasses who claim like, this is just like 1984. You can be like, that's not even what the fuck happened in the book. Yeah, you're right. Be good now. There is a startup visa. So I think it's like 3 years after you become a permanent resident, actually. So you might start off with like, you get a job offer to Canada. They'll give you temporary residency. And then after I'm not sure how long of a period you can apply for permanent residency. But then 3 years that you've been a permanent resident in Canada, then you can apply to be a citizen. In the meantime, you can't vote. Obviously. I'm of the same opinion. I really don't want to lie on my documents. I'm agender and want an X on all my paperwork. Like, my state ID says M. My birth certificate says F. My state ID says M. And the reason why I haven't changed my sex on my birth certificate is because I don't want it to say M on my birth certificate. Like, I wish it could just be X on all of the documents, but they don't allow it. Did Orwell also write Fahrenheit 451? I had never connected that dot. Good night, Raccoon Pope. I chose to read 1984 in middle school when they told me to do a report on any book I wanted. Did the same thing with Brave New World and Lord of the Flies. Brave New World was assigned to me like my freshman year, I believe. Freshman or junior year. Or sorry, freshman or sophomore. Oh, yeah, I thought Ray Bradbury, Fahrenheit 451. But yeah, I read Fahrenheit 451 and Brave New World, and in my adulthood, I've read 1984. I've never read The Lord of the Flies, though. I get the general premise. I get it. Ding dang. If you have yet to hit like on the stream, I realize it's been hours, so it's likely that you already have. But if you haven't, consider doing that. Just hit a like for the free content, you know? I gotta stop fucking with my hair because it's coming out by the handful. I am like a lot more stressed than I think I am. And I'm not doing my yoga. I gotta start doing the yoga again. Keep me unstressed. You know what, really quick, I'm gonna find my cat. We're gonna have a Mitternacht moment, okay? Are you ready? Be good now. I hope that you can get healthcare covered by the province, even if you're just a temporary resident. Okay, let me get a kitty. Bubby. Oh, I had to read Lord of the Flies in college political philosophy classes. Oh, hold on. Sir, I just want to hold you. He no like this. He no like it. No. Chunker dunker. Chunk dunk 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 dunk. Are you baby? He's like, please no. Please no. Oh, God. Are you okay? Is it so frustrating that I'm so much bigger than you and that I can just prevent you from going where you want to go? that your huge 16 pounds can do nothing to stop me. You can do nothing to stop me, sir. Are you baby? Hey, you're okay. Mwah. He hates this. All right. I tried to give you a kitty moment. There's still a cost involved, but it's a lot less than you pay in the States. You would need resident status to get full coverage. Yeah, so it's basically just like, how long is it going to take me to get to a residency status that will allow me to get healthcare? Because that's the one bummer thing about moving to Washington first. Like, the one bummer thing about moving to Washington and then Canada is that, like, we're probably going to sign a fucking 12-month lease and spend yet another year in a country where we cannot afford healthcare. And I'm sure, like, I would not doubt if healthcare costs scaled with the other cost of living. So, like, I might be able to get dental care for cheap here, but not as much, like, in Seattle. And if I live in Seattle, it'll be even further if I wanted to go to Mexico for my tooth care. Because that's a really common thing. I don't know if you knew this. It's very common, for Americans to go to Mexico to get dental care, to get dental work done. I've read some Calvin and Hobbes, but not very much, to be honest. Not a whole lot. Now I have hair all over my face. Good lord. Oh gosh. It's 2 to 3 years to get your permanent residency. Well, yeah, I guess, like, yeah, as long as it's just relatively cheaper. Are you still looking into martial arts training? I did try to do a search. I don't know if I'm going to find what I want anywhere near where I live. But, like, yeah, I was hoping for something that would be more practical. Like, I did fucking mixed martial arts training when I was younger. Like, I got up to the point where I was about to test for my brown belt, and the only reason I didn't test for my brown belt was because the teacher would not make time for me. And then my mom stopped being able to afford it. But, like, I want like a training that's going to be like, if someone grabs you by the hair and starts pulling you around, like, what do you do? And in the training, I want them to actually grab my hair and pull, like, be scary, so that I have to do this, learning it while I'm in active, like, fight or flight mode, you know? I don't know if I'm going to find anything like that anywhere near where I live. Like, I'm guessing Kansas City is going to have some options. Like, that would be my best guess. Maybe on the Missouri side, specifically. Canadians go to Mexico for dental work, too. Really? My sister-in-law flew to Mexico to get dentures made because the trip was cheaper than getting them in Canada. Holy fuck. My friend went to Colombia for a dentist. He had a friend there he could stay with, and after all the travel costs, it was way cheaper. Yeah, that's insane. That you will be like, it's literally less expensive to fly to another country and have the procedure done there and pay to stay in a hotel while you're there and come back. I mean, that's a lot of people go to, like, Thailand for their bottom surgeries, so I guess it's not completely outside the realm of understandable behavior. I need my wisdom teeth removed. Like, bad. In the psych hospital, the first thing they told us to do when someone grabbed your hair was to hold onto the bottom of it and actually go with them for a while until you get control in order to avoid having it pulled out. Yeah. I mean, like, if you're in a general martial arts thing, they'll, like, you know, they'll grab your wrist and you'll have to do one of, like, these to kind of, or like a twisting motion to get out of it or whatever. Like, and that's useful and everything. I don't really want to do all of the formal, like, kicking training and shit, you know? Canada's working on dental coverage, but only kids under 12 will be covered at first. How the fuck are we so backwards in the first world? Supposedly the first world. More good reasons for me to cut off all my hair? Yeah, you know how getting a tooth infection can pretty shortly turn into you having a brain infection? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You don't need your brain to not have an infection. Some people don't even register dental pain the same as other people. So like it might be like severely rotted out before they start to have any pain about it. And by then, like, you could have a problem with your jaw or a problem with your lymph nodes. Anyhow, like, how do you disarm, like, speaking of this self-defense, like how do you disarm someone with who's pointing a gun at you or some shit like that? I don't know. Disarming someone with a knife. Like, those are things that I never was taught how to do. And those are like the more practical things that I would like to learn self-defense wise. And I want it to be like a relatively short program because A, I don't have very much time of like still living here, and B, I don't have very much money. So I would like to get it done in like a short period of time. I could get all my wisdom teeth out in Mexico for 1K max. The issue with that too now is like, am I gonna fucking get on an airplane and fly to Mexico right now? Like, with multiple waves of COVID and shit happening? Like, if I do get on an airplane anytime in the next 5 years, I'm gonna buy like one of these full face mask, like 2 big fucking filter, like head PPE, you know? I know a woman whose mother died due to a heart attack from a rotten tooth. The infection went to her heart. She dropped dead working on a factory line one night with the heart attack. That's horrifying. Yeah, your teeth health is directly related to your heart health. It's not just the rotten tooth itself and the infection, but also like the plaque on your teeth. Here's complaining about things that were not explained to me as a child. Speaking of, what plaque actually is was not explained to me. Like, you've got like, you know, if you like scrape your tooth off, you might get like some soft goop stuff. That's not what plaque is. I have these two teeth in the front that like they're overlapping in kind of a bad way, and then like the spot in the back behind, like, so behind these front teeth right here, if I like scrape that overlapping line, like this crevice right here, there's like some hard, dry stuff that comes off. That's what plaque is. And the reason why they clean it off, like you're like in the dentist chair and your mouth is open and they're flooding. Is that tartar? Like, but that's the thing that is like the problem with your heart health, is that there's like that solid shit, because that solid shit will fucking lodge it in your veins and become a blood clot, and then like you don't really know that you have a blood clot until one of them breaks loose from wherever it's stuck to, and then suddenly you have a fucking stroke or a heart attack. Because a stroke is when a blood clot gets stuck somewhere in your brain, and a heart attack is when a blood clot gets stuck in your heart and cuts off part of the circulation to your heart and in your body, and that's why it fucking hurts. So that's why when you're getting your dentistry done, they're like, while they're scraping your teeth off with these little metal tools, they're like rinsing water in your mouth and also like having you like clamp down on that like vacuum that sucks it out, is because you should not swallow that. The most frustrating thing is having insurance, but still so broke you can't afford the copays, so it really does feel pointless to even pay for the insurance. That's why I don't have insurance, Morrigan. I haven't had insurance in years because, like, I'm paying you hundreds of dollars a month for the insurance. You're going to charge me a copay, and likely, like, you're going to have a huge fucking, you're going to have a huge, my brain. Oh, a deductible is the word that I was looking for. Are you done packing, Baphomet? Is that what it is that you're done with? Oh, okay, so Creature of the Fate. I had it backwards. Plaque is the soft stuff, and tartar is when it hardens. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's good that you are done packing. Excellent. Anyhoozle, I am getting hungry. We've had an excellent stream here tonight. It's been very consistent, very regular. Our poops are getting very regular here in chat. Between now and the next time I see you, I want you to be thinking, I'm going to see you on Sunday. I want you to think, is there something I could do today that would benefit my body and my health? And is there something that I can do today that will benefit my mind and my spirit, you know? Well, you reminded me that I needed to eat food. Like you left and you came back and I was like, oh, I need to eat. So yeah, take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourself. Don't get in too many stupid arguments on Twitter. And I will be seeing you on Sunday.